And if I look in here, I can see that it's a plywood body. And I don't think that the actual Kramers, like the good ones, they definitely weren't plywood, were they? So yeah.
The good ones weren't, but they had some plywood stuff. And hey, are we live? Are we here? I think we're live.
Are we
All
live?
right.
I think we are. Yes, YouTube is telling me that we're live. Hey, everybody, it's 9:21. Well, for three of us, it's 9:21, and for two of us, it's 12:21
That's right.
a.m. But it's for three of us, it's 9:21, and then wait, that's so it's the date and the time is the exact same thing here right now.
9:21. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the exact same thing there for a second.
that's right.
You know. And also, you guys, there's Ned. So make sure you subscribe. You want to see more Ned? Subscribe. He's one awesome dude. There he is. He's incredible.
See you later, bro.
So hey, you guys, welcome Straturday night. Live from Alton Juice, everybody. Live from New York. It's Dave Nesdahl.
Hi.
There he is. Live from John Beale. Where are you at?
Come on.
Live from Come On.
New England.
John Beale. There he is.
Haverhill, right?
Welcome, Haverhill, Massachusetts. Haverhill.
Awesome. Live. Wait, we got the names on here. Live. Well, I know you're in Arizona. Live from Arizona. Zim's Guitars.
What is up, guys?
Hey.
Thanks for having me, Johnny.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
Been
you,
watching
man.
this thing you guys do for probably at least 6 months now or so. Been a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank
Something
you.
to do on a Saturday night when you don't have a date.
I wouldn't know. I'm kidding.
No, my girlfriend's at home right now.
Yeah, she's watching right now going, you might have a date, but you're not getting any.
Oh.
We all
Who's
have
that?
a date. We all have a date. It's 9:21.
Mm-hmm. And also live from Arizona, Neanderthal.
Hi, kids.
Hey, man.
No beer tonight, although I reserve the right to change that decision, make that decision. I'll do that later.
I bought
Yeah,
a six of Oktoberfest the other day, so I'm gonna maybe have one later.
Wine?
Uh-huh. Have one now and have
a
one later.
sixer of like a six pack.
Oh, yeah, eat the, yeah. Do,
Right now, I'm drinking the. Well, it's
Oh, look at you.
Mountain Dew and rum. The old hillbilly drink.
Uh-huh. Cool.
What's up,
Very
Mike?
cool. So, hey, hello, everybody. Welcome. Leave a thumbs up if you dig this stuff. Like I said, subscribe. Subscribe for Ned. There he is. Subscribe for Ned. Oh, look at that. If I could just zoom in on that. Look at that.
If I could just be that content right now, man.
That's
Ever.
yeah, he's
Reason,
amazing.
I don't have the chat right now, by the way. I have only the private chat, and I don't know why.
Oh.
Live.
If you open YouTube, you got to open it on YouTube to get the.
I guess I do.
Oh no. You got to click on comments.
Do you see where it says
can you-
Oh, there's
can
live.
turn
There
it
it is.
on
Now,
the,
now I'm back to live
StreamYard?
comments. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
have that. I didn't have that. That
try
window
that.
wasn't available to me. It is now.
Live comments.
Yeah. Yeah, within the stream turd or whatever it is. Comments, banners, brand.
Yeah, it went away for whatever
private
reason.
chat.
It just said private chat. That was the only thing I could do. So I could only talk behind the scenes about everybody else.
Man, the window's so small when I do that, though.
Oh my gosh.
No, let's keep to the old school.
So by the way, we were talking before we get on. I grabbed it. I grabbed the CHS 5150.
What happened to what's his name? He just left.
John just quit.
Well, I think it was an accident. I think he accidentally closed out.
So this was a red and black version of what Dane is holding, and the difference is if you flip his around, you'll see he has a serial number. If you can get it closer to the camera, he has a serial number on his, and you can't really see it because of the way the light. I think it's black hardware, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then on the back of mine, it has the 1984 stamp. You can see the stamp pretty close. So they're
Oh yeah, there it is.
yeah, they were kind of the same guitar, and yet for whatever reason, Dane's is a little on the different side. But you'll notice they have the same headstock with the longer tip of the headstock
Nut
where the
screws
E
to the
is.
bottom.
Here's. I'm gonna let John back in. The cameras will switch for a second, but then I'll.
Yep.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Push the wrong button.
And of course, I love the fact this is why Craig does such a great job up at CHS. The EVH signature on the back is a nice little touch. And he did it with he does this chalk finish, so it's the actual color, as opposed to a lot of people who do the EVH, the builds end up with like a gloss color and it doesn't look real. So this will wear, I'm assuming this will wear and relic naturally as I play it.
Just one or two. Whoa.
So.
Damn, I dropped one already.
I saw that.
Uh-oh.
Nobody else saw that. I saw that though. What was that? A brown M&M?
Yeah, a yellow one. These are the coffee flavored ones, right?
He went to throw it in his mouth and it flew past his mouth.
I did.
saw
Whoop.
it.
He missed his mouth.
Wow. So that's the Kramer. That's what that guitar would look like. Well, I was going to say naturally, but that kind of makes sense.
Straight out of the factory.
Factory. There we go.
And now on the back of the headstock, like I was telling you guys a little while ago, right here, it's stamped a second. 2ND is stamped in there right there.
A little closer.
Little bit closer. Oh,
There it is. I hear it. Somebody's got an echo.
Echo.
and I think that's because a guy told me it's because of the black hardware on this. It's supposed to be chrome. Somebody put black hardware on this one, or the factory did, so they marked it a second. So I don't know what the story on that is all about.
Mhm. Sometimes what that can mean is it's possible that could be like refurbished, Or
Yeah.
maybe it would say,
Mine- This one originally had black hardware too. Came from the factory with black hardware, and they came with the Floyd Rose. Actually, to be honest with you, these came with real Floyd Roses. They didn't have. It wasn't the 1000, the Korean one. They had legit Floyd Roses on it. I just had this one replaced with the German one. It started out just we're going to paint it, and then, as is often the case, you start getting into the conversation. It's like, well, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Because these originally came, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, the one that you're holding, take a pull on that volume knob and tell me if that doesn't have a coil tap on it.
Nope.
All right, so that's an older one. Because they ended up having a coil tap on them. And I had that, that disabled as well. And next thing you know, we're changing the tuners and we're changing all the hardware. And,
The
You got the-
springs in here are black, which is cool.
You
I
got
like
the CD player instead of the cassette.
Yes. I had to pay for the undercoating.
Oh, the upgrade.
This is my deal, Wade.
I'm getting the 5-disc CD changer in the trunk.
I still have a 6-disc in my car.
Wow.
Hi, David.
Oh, wow. David Nesdahl's here. We got David Nesdahl. We got Brett McCord, the dog Pa. Mike is himself. Let me look at another screen here. Brett McCord. Let's see. Rena's Pinkel. G. Butchnoff is here. Hey, welcome, dude. Good to see you. Steve Carmichael. Hey, man.
Someone's got some delay happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's Paul.
No.
Because
No.
when
it's
oh, he's got headphones too. All right, so
It's probably me. Let me turn my speaker down a little.
I only because he had when he was talking, I heard his echo too. I thought.
Are we good now?
testing.
Testing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Hello?
Oh.
How about when I talk? Is that
What?
Sounds good now.
All good. All good.
Yeah.
Hey, G. Yeah, good. Great to see you, man.
Hey, Zach Thong.
It's always good to see you at NAMM, man. Dwight Bailey is in here. Nightbot. Love you, Nightbot. Hugh Caldwell. Tube Supio. Mitch Heyman is in here. And Janice. Janice, so you're okay, you're okay, right? You left a comment on yesterday's video saying I don't know, it was kind of a weird comment. I don't know. It was kind of strange. It's all good though. And everybody else is here. Charlie S, Ed Dana. Johnny Bean's dog is back. Hey, welcome, man. Also, you're having dinner right now. I can hear you.
Hey, 7/8's in there.
7/8. Hey, man. Ballsack.
David Ennis. What's up, David Ennis?
David Ennis. Hope everything's okay, man.
Yeah.
And there's another name in here, that Zim's Guitars you were talking about. You recognize.
Yeah,
That'd be Gabe.
Gabriel Sound. Yeah, his name is Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in my shop from time to time. He lives in Phoenix, so it's maybe a 10 or 15 minutes away.
What was that?
Nothing here.
That's cool. RG Pops is in the house. Gary Tholander. Awesome.
So, Dave, what did you do? What did you have done to your Kamikaze? You were talking about how you had all this stuff done to it. I know you probably had some FU tone work done.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff from Adam at FU Tone. And I guess I'll show you. Let me just put this guitar down.
David's 5150 is awesome because he's got the 7th tuner.
So I got the titanium inserts. I had the stainless steel screws that go to the back. I had them already, but I have the red noiseless springs and a brass block with my name on it.
Oh, nice.
Did that come stock?
Put your name in your underwear.
Yeah, it comes stock for me when I want it.
Uh-huh.
And it just the guitar reacts much better with this block on it than the normal little
The P
the pot metal one that comes with the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've got this. I've got my Kamikaze replica right here, and I'm pulling the back plate off right now, so we can take a look at the bridge, what it looks like.
Nice. Let's see if it says David Nesdall on it.
Yeah, it might be David Nesdall's guitar.
Let's see here. One more screw.
David, do you do that just for personal purposes, or will you put the back plate back on that, and then if the guitar ends up missing and you've got some noob that doesn't pull the back plate, is that sort of for a security reason as well?
I mean, it could be. I do it because I just think it's cool. It's cool to have my name on a guitar.
Sure.
That's pretty
All
much
right,
it.
so here's what the cheap ones look like in the back. Nothing too glamorous about that, huh?
Well, it still works.
Looks kind of wimpy.
What are those blocks made? Are those aluminum or
They're
Dave?
like
I'm sure you
they're pot metal.
Like the cheap pot
Yeah.
metal that he's, yeah.
Well, it's got to be pretty strong to hold up to the tension. I mean, with those springs.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's always been used, in the cheaper, or maybe import, a lot of the import stuff. So that's definitely something to upgrade,
I love how you mentioned cheaper imports and stuff. Meanwhile, ESPs are from Japan and the prices are as high as the balls in a giraffe.
Oh goodness!
I mean, they're not. The idea that an import guitar is cheap now is kind of a misnomer between Ibanez and ESP, and a lot of these companies are already charging a lot of money for Asian import guitars now.
Yeah, but when you think import, you think cheap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you
You
know,
do now,
but
you
these
don't.
companies, these name brand companies are making real, very well made guitars to rival the American guitars.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Remember there was a time back in back before any of us were born, if something came from China, it was considered exotic and valuable because it was from the Orient. You know what I mean? And now and then somewhere along the line, everything got backward, and now suddenly Asian manufacturing has rooted back around, especially in South Korea. They've done a great job of improving the quality of their guitars.
And talking about that, I watched a video last night, and it was Rob Chapman video at Anderton's. And you know how they put the blinders on him so he can't see, and they carried him into a room. They sat him down. They let him play 8 Telecasters, all from different. They had a USA Tele. They had Indonesia, South Korea. I don't think they had Vietnam. They had one guitar from, was it Denmark? But anyhow, Chapman sat there with blinders on, and just by going like this, he wasn't allowed to feel the headstock to see what it was. But just by going like this, he tried to tell you what country of origin these guitars came from. Guess how many he got right?
0.
Wow.
And he's amazing when he can tell you with his ears if there's a pedal in front of the amp or if it's just in the amp or, different things like that. But he was 0 for 8 when it came to figuring out where these guitars are made. So
Did he have a preference on the ones that he tested?
Not
It'd be
really.
interesting to see. If
Chapman, and he was like,
price
"Oh,
level?
this thing's great. I love this guitar."
Yeah.
So it kind of came off like maybe he's just a little biased, but he knows what the Chapman necks feel like. But it just kind of goes to show that if you're blind and you can't see where that guitar was built, they're getting good at building quality guitars over there nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dave, did you get to finish what you were talking about with the kamikaze upgrades?
Yeah, basically. I did a few more things with it as well. I put this is a Switchcraft push-pull pot. Actually, no, I'm sorry, not Switchcraft. It's a CTS push-pull, and I put a Switchcraft jack in here because it was just a cheap jack that was in here for some reason. It's just the guitar responds much better now than it did, and it was great before. Don't get me wrong, it was great before, but it's that much better now. It really is.
Did it always have the push pull for a selector?
Yes.
You changed it. You upgraded it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. I like the idea of it's less clutter on the on the body.
It's less clutter, but on the fly, it's not that easy to switch pickups when you're doing 90. It's a lot easier to just flip a switch than it is to push pull a pot. But it's cool though.
Because I would think you're going 90 and you're playing and you go to switch, you might accidentally turn the guitar down.
Yeah, I've done it. I've already done it. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But that being said, though, it's just cool. The whole guitar is just really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool guitar.
It's kind of sad, in my opinion, that George Lynch isn't out touring with Dokken and doing a whole bunch of stuff with Dokken. It doesn't really matter other than the fact that the band that I'm in, we're opening for Dokken in Santa Clarita, California on October, I think the date is 19th. So I just
nice.
That's cool.
Man.
We've got 3 or 4 original songs. Yeah. And so I'm going to be in California in Santa Clarita at the Canyon Club.
Nice.
You guys ever been there?
Very
Nope,
cool.
I haven't.
I've heard of it. Didn't you just play the Whiskey A Go Go too?
Last Friday we were at the Whiskey A Go Go,
Holy cow.
and It's not because we're a great sounding band. It's not because we're trying to get a record deal or anything. It's because my lead singer works out in Hollywood. He's a construction manager for all these TV shows. He's working on The Mayans, which is a spin-off of Sons of Anarchy. He's done the Sons of Anarchy. He's done all kinds of TV shows out there where he builds the set. And he told me at band practice a week or two ago that he worked on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Wow. And I'm like, oh, dude, did you get to put the antennas on the telephone booth? And he's like, I built the telephone booth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Did they do that
It's
here?
like I told somebody to put those up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
They shot that in Tempe.
Bill and Ted's was shot in Tempe?
Yep.
Yeah, when I first moved here,
Oh,
everybody
wow.
was like, when we go past that Circle K, that was like a landmark. It was like, there's the strange things that are afoot at the
wow.
Circle K.
Whoa.
Circle K. Yeah.
Jay,
Hey,
you listening to this
Isolated
now?
area.
Yeah,
in,
man.
We're filming. I went to go get a lottery ticket.
just isolated place in Tempe.
What corner is that on, Paul?
Harding,
I don't know. I don't know. I just drove through
Hardy
it.
and Southern. It's like
Was it Southern and what?
Hardy and Southern.
Hardy and Southern.
Ooh, let's find it.
Yeah, we should do a remote from there.
Hardy and Southern Crossroads, Tempe, Arizona.
I remember Circle K because I told you I was born in Phoenix, and so when I was a little kid, I used to walk up, ride my bike to the Circle K.
We
Who
got
knows?
a lot of Circle K's here. We don't have AM PMs. Isn't that what's big in California?
We have AM PMs. We have the what's
There
it
it
called?
is.
What is it called? The 20. Trying to
There
think.
he is. He's on the corner.
Yeah, you have mostly 7-Elevens there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of 7-Elevens.
That's it.
That's what we have here.
Not that I'd know it from.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
So that's
You
the
know
one from
what
the
it
movie.
is? Yeah.
They shot Metro Center, and
Oh, there's Keanu right there.
Getting a Slurpee.
How amazing is that we're you're able, you can just make some random reference and then just pull it up on satellite and get a picture right there.
Hey, John, can you go to Zim's Guitars?
Let's
That's a great
try
idea.
it. What's
I'm on
the address?
corner of Dobson and Guadalupe in Mesa, Arizona.
Okay, Dobson and Guadalupe. How do you spell D-O-B-S?
Dobson.
Oh,
Dobson and
Guadalupe.
This is John's second job. He's a spotter for missiles.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in.
Well, it's not far from there, huh? Man.
No, it's not
Well,
too far.
in the interest of John, Maricopa County is 9,400 square miles. So it's like Phoenix is made up of 5 major cities. And people think that Tempe and Scottsdale and Mesa and all that stuff are in like 4 different corners of the state. And they're really not. It's all in the central part of the state.
There's a Starbucks on one corner. There's a Goodwill. And I'm in the corner of the Goodwill parking lot. So you see where the Goodwill's at?
Well, what's your exact address? Give me the exact street address.
2121 West Guadalupe.
All right, let's try that. 2121.
Yep. Mesa. 85202.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, I'm down in that corner. You see that tall?
Let me see if I can get to it.
You see that
palm
cell phone
tree.
tower that looks like a palm tree?
Take a
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
That is right in front of my store.
Look at that. There it is. Zim's Guitars.
Yeah, there's that white car belongs to the barbershop lady next door, and she hates me.
Oh,
She's this old Asian woman.
She
And
is.
when he cranks up the guitar, she pounds on the walls every day.
Yeah.
God.
maybe she's just
And,
playing along.
She
Nick,
actually
there
we
does
go.
play.
Zim's Guitars. There you
Yeah.
are.
And McKnight, Phil McKnight came in here. He's been in a bunch of times, but I got a couple of his guitars on consignment. But he was
That's
in
cool,
here
man.
playing, and I said, Phil, keep an eye on the store for a few minutes. I'm going to run up to the bank. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a soda or whatever I was doing. And McKnight's in here playing guitar and being all loud. And I come pulling up in my truck, and I came back, and I walk in the door, and barbershop lady is inside my store yelling on the top of her voice, "You play too loud!" You know, she was just going berserk.
Yeah, I think she's Hmong or Cambodian.
That McKnight's like, that's your YouTube channel right there. Forget about making guitar videos.
Yeah. Just get a reaction from her every day from pissing her off.
Crazy barbershop lady.
Yeah, like the next angry grandpa, you know?
Yeah.
And I do have one video, and it's called "The Neighbors Hate This Mesa Boogie Coliseum Amplifier." A friend of mine brought in a big old Mesa Boogie, and we were playing it loud. And she came in here yelling, and I didn't turn the camera around and pointed at her, but in text, we typed in everything she was yelling at us. And she said something like, "The little ones, okay, but the big ones, nobody like the big ones."
I think someone should choke her with a big one.
Oh.
Here's the thing, man.
No,
Her lease is up. Her lease is up.
We're flagged now.
And I think we only have a few more months of her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, her lease is up.
Oh, well, you'll have to knock that wall down behind you.
Expand, yeah.
Should I do that?
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm actually thinking about doing, possibly, if I was to expand, is to sublease the back half of it out to a really good professional luthier somewhere that does repairs. And every once in a while, a guy will come in and he's like, "Hey, I've done guitar repair for 30 years. I need a little spot." And I'm like, "Man, I'm a one-man operation down here." But I've got 2 or 3 guys in mind that would be suitable. And if they wanted to sublease the back half of the barbershop out, I could double my inventory and make my showroom a lot bigger. But you know what? Having a bigger inventory isn't necessarily going to make me sell more guitars. It would be for my own ego, I think, to have a big, beautiful showroom. I think that'd be about the only thing it'd be worth.
Mm-hmm. I think that'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, where I'm around here.
Let me do this thing again real quick for you guys. Hey, there's my buddy Neil. Try not to be so shaky.
Hi, Neil.
There's looking out my front window of my store that I always do. And I still got my red Christmas lights up. And then here's my, I got a wall hanger, and here's my back wall and some straps and stuff. And keep in mind, everything in this store, it's used guitars. So I'm not a vendor dealer or anything like that. It costs too much to do that kind of stuff. There's my back room. There's my little EVH wall on the back room. And I got bass guitars back here, but I got maybe, I'm looking at maybe I have 250 guitars inventory or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not where I'm from. There's not a lot of small independent music shops around. There's probably one within 20 miles of me, and then the rest is a couple guitar centers. And it's if I'm going to buy strings or anything, I'm buying it online. If I'm just buying something. Unless I'm really looking for something specific, or if I'd love to be able to walk into a store like it used to be when you could find used guitars all over the place. But they're hard to come by these days. Just to walk into a store and find that.
There was a guitar shop in Porter Square in Cambridge, right across from the T, where Joe Stump used to teach out of back when before he became sort of the Yngwie Jr. Actually, he's playing with Graham Bonnet now, but it was Cambridge Music.
Yeah,
it's called.
I never got into Boston or into the city very often for that sort of thing. It's but I know Boston always had especially Cambridge around Berkeley and Emerson and all that. They had several small stores. I wonder how they're doing nowadays. Even like the old record stores, even just to find like a used record store, it's that was one of my favorite things, going into an old, where you could go into a record store and they'd have guitars there and they'd have stereo equipment, PA equipment, and they'd have everything, books and everything that you could go in and it was all used, and you could, if you wanted to sell something, if you wanted to, buy something cheap, you could always do it. But nowadays, there's hardly anything. Even pawn shops won't take, they won't take anything that's, more than a couple of years old, especially in electronics. What's that?
Oh, one of the comments, it's a guy named Gabe that comes in here, and he says, "Where's Neil's poser telly?" So there was this whole thing about, are you a poser if you relic your guitar? And my buddy Neil that's hanging out here, he just paid like $3,500 for a custom shop telly that's been reliced. So that was one of the comments in there. And Neil, his poser guitar is hanging on the wall at his house.
That's all I bought it for.
Does this make me a poser? Because it's relic?
Hell no.
You did it yourself. I remember when I first saw some of the Fenders that they came out with that were, professionally reliced. I mean, I thought it was ridiculous, but nowadays that's, every company's doing a relic, offering something in a relic kind of thing.
Well, what you need to understand about relic guitars is that no one's trying to pawn them as being old, but they absolutely do sound better than a guitar with a bunch of paint on it, because you're down to the wood. You're letting the body and the neck are breathing more because there's less paint on it, and they do look cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is a relic guitar right here, right there. I had that made for me. It's I've been using it for 10 years now, almost 10 years now. I've done probably 2,000 gigs on that guitar.
Wow.
That's, but it started off as a relic guitar. They just feel good and they sound great. Nothing wrong with it. So anyone that says that it's a poser thing, why don't you try one?
Well, they've created a market for relics, and so if there's a market for something, why not every company is like, hey, we might as well get in on that. And you were talking about guitars with a lot of paint. Okay, this thing is a Fender. This is called the Franken bucket.
That's a real Frankenstein.
This is called the Franken bucket. And I guess there was a tattoo artist called Dirty Donnie. And so I guess this is a, I don't know, a short run of these guitars. But this is the worst sounding acoustic that I have in my store.
Well, you did say it was a Fender.
Yeah.
Oh, on Straturday you would do that?
Oh,
Well, I'm talking about acoustics.
This
Fender couldn't build an acoustic if they tried. They couldn't build a good acoustic.
My theory is it's just all that paint on this thing. It kills it.
So you should strip it with whatever it is that you're spraying on the back of it right now.
You gotta keep it shiny. No, here's the deal. Every time you pick up a guitar, if you have a used guitar shop, every time you pick up a guitar, you wipe the dust off of it before you.
It could be imperfections in the top, and that's why they chose to paint it like that. If the wood on the top had some imperfections, and they just said, well, all right, let's just paint it, and
It's got a monster on it.
yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool anyway.
That's called a video guitar.
Yeah.
Sure.
I could see
You buy that guitar and hang it in a bar.
Poison playing it or somebody.
And it probably sounds like that.
Green. I don't know. Green, man.
And it's sparkle too. You see the sparkle on there?
Yeah, it looks like it's like that rat rod culture type deal where
Look at that.
Oh, what's it? Rat Fink?
greaser, yeah, rat fink, that type of stuff. Yeah, greaserama
yep.
type culture. That's sort of what
Is that hand
pinstriping
pinstriping or?
No, this is from the factory. It's
probably a lithograph or something.
Actually called a Franken bucket, the Hot Rod series or something. Hot Rod design Franken bucket is what it says inside there.
What kind of price point is it? Is it an expensive Fender, or I mean, I know most Fender acoustics are like
I have it priced at
$200
$400 with a hard shell case, so that there were probably maybe $599 brand new. I'm gonna guess it's got the electronics in it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fishman Electronics.
Not very good sounding.
Funny, Rob L, who's in the chat, just mentioned that he bought an OLP MM1 for a full mod job. I had just texted David Nesdall tonight. There is one at the Mesa, Arizona Guitar Center in their used shop for like $149 for people that want to do a build. If you're looking for just a skeletal build to do that stuff, and I guess those, the original OLPs before they became the Sterlings are pretty well built to begin with, and if you put some new guts in it, you get your nice little guitar for some cheap money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know a guy who kept buying them. I think he wanted a purple one. Remember
I think he got one. I'm almost positive he got a purple one.
Those are the guitars that I think that a well-known Las Vegas guitar maker was sort of juicing up and jacking up the price and selling them as if they were kind of like Music Man's.
Oh no!
Yeah. If I would have bought one knowing that from him,
yeah, there's a big blurb on his website about the lawsuit and how he and Ernie Ball are no longer seeing eye to eye because Ernie Ball thought that he was basically screwing with their trademark. It's one thing to make a replica guitar of a guitar that you can't buy anymore. It's another thing to make a knockoff. I mean, there isn't any difference between somebody taking one of those OLPs and trying to pass it off as a legit Music Man and a Gibson. They're the same thing. You're still bootlegging a guitar.
I'm going to take it one step further. There's nothing wrong with taking one of those guitars and making it into a beautiful looking Music Man guitar, as long as you don't try to pass it off as a Music Man guitar.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with doing any of that. I mean,
as long as you don't try to sell it.
Right. Well, I mean, but if you sell it, you got to sell it as an OLP. You can sell it as an OLP with upgrades and make a little bit of money, but you can't sell it as a Music Man guitar.
Yeah, you're deceiving someone in that case.
By the way, Soda, this shirt, just so you know, the story behind it is when I was working for a radio station in Boston called WAAF. You can't really see that, but
we can't see that.
We
Oh, cool.
When Dime died, I was working at WAAF, and we were sort of friendly with him every time he came through Boston. And I don't know that this is public knowledge, but there were some issues with regard to insurance and being able to pay for his funeral. So Rita had allowed us to take this image, and I don't know who this originally did this image. It might have been his law's image. I don't know who did it, but we got it licensed to print up these T-shirts, and we sold them for like $30. And all the money, not just profits, but all the money that was made off of selling these T-shirts was sent directly to Rita Haney so that we could help offset the cost of Dime's funeral. So it's it's a pretty special shirt.
I saw something with Phil Anselmo. He wants to get Zach Wilde to tour as well as Rex, and I don't know who on drums, but he put that offer out there. I don't know if him and Zach have been talking, but what do you guys think about? I mean, I know some of you guys aren't necessarily Pantera fans, but that would be a pretty good replacement, or not necessarily replacement, but same kind of caliber of guitar player, Zach Wilde for Dimebag.
Well, weren't they like best friends?
Yeah.
Weren't there music videos of them together, like a video of them like as kids and stuff?
Is that right? Wow.
No, not as kids, but that was just a
reenactment.
Reenactment. But no, they didn't know each other as kids.
Yeah.
Zach's from New Jersey and Dime was from Texas, so they didn't really know each other.
Mm-hmm. But there was a reenactment of them like jamming or hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they were going to do a. I happen to have been, again, I was at WAAF at the time when he died, and we not too long after that, the springtime after that, he died in December, and that March or May, it might have been March. We used to do this thing called the indoor beach party, which was where we would go to like a smaller arena and bring tons and tons of sand in and set up
Songus Arena.
Yeah,
I think I
Songs
worked
Arena.
one. I may have worked one of those back in the day.
Well, we did the one we did right after Dime was killed. Had Black Label Society playing. Nick Bocott came up and did like a 15-minute guitar tribute to Dime, and it was supposed to be. We had everybody from Damage Plan there, with the exception of Dime, obviously, and Pat and Vinny and Bob didn't want to go on stage. They sort of freaked out. Vinny did jump on stage and played with Black Label Society, and they did a couple of songs. I think they did Walk and something else. And the entire stage was, the perimeter was all Hell's Angels, like as the perimeter, to make sure nobody came anywhere near that stage. It was a pretty amazing night. But that was the first time they were supposed to all get on stage with Zach on guitar and do a Damage Plan set. And at the last minute, everybody sort of got cold feet, and understandably so.
Sure.
It's only 4 months later.
What's the name of the lead singer of Pantera? What's his name?
Phil Anselmo.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil. That's right. Now, just like Roth, that's going out with a bunch of nobodies, Phil could go out, play Pantera songs, and he would still make a lot of money. He doesn't need to share all that cash with a big name, Zakk Wylde or something.
Yeah, I've heard he's hard to work with.
Pentatonic scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Ola England. You guys watch his channel? He builds the solar guitars, but he did a video about 2 weeks ago where he went to Dimebag's. He got to look at all Dimebag's old guitars.
I saw that video.
Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I saw it.
That was super cool. And so they went to, I don't know where it was at, but Dimebag has a guitar tech, right? And the guitar tech was showing us all his videos. It seems weird to me that Dimebag still has a guitar tech.
Oh, someone who's looking after his guitars now.
Yeah, it's just a curator. Probably the family has him.
Sure.
Kept him on.
Right. But that was,
he had a pretty good collection.
Yeah, you could get one. Somebody in the comments said they could just get Ola to be the guitarist. That would be cool.
I'll take the unpopular opinion. I find Pantera to be super overrated.
I don't care for him. I don't care for that. I don't care for that style of heavy metal. So
when I'm in the mood,
I'm not saying that they're bad, because I mean you got to be
I'm
really
not
good to
saying they're
play
bad
that
either,
stuff.
but
it's just not my
overrated.
cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. I don't like the a guy barking on vocals.
If you're in the mood, though, yeah. I mean, whether it's an angry mood or just like I don't know, party mood or something. Pantera is definitely fun.
If I'm in an angry mood, I just go to the pistol range.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to take it out.
There's that old expression that hatred breeds hatred. And when you hear angry music like that, sometimes it sparks people to do stupid stuff.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, they were certainly the only traditional metal band in that late 90s, early part of the 2000s. Obviously, Metallica was going through their bass player issue with having to replace Newsted. So there really wasn't anybody doing that style of music at the time. Megadeth was sort of on hiatus. Anthrax had to basically go underground for a while because of September 11th. And so Pantera was...
I do remember that.
Yeah, Pantera was the only band that was sort of doing that at the time. But the legend of Pantera exceeds the reality of Pantera. They were never a headlining band. They were never a major band. They were always sort of a theater band.
Sure.
On festivals and stuff. Great for what they are, but the legend is always bigger than the reality in that situation.
Honestly,
don't get me wrong, great band, but overrated.
I knew guys that I hung out with, and when Cowboys from Hell came out, that was like it's 1968, and the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's came out. That's how big that Cowboys from Hell album was.
That was what, 91?
That I was hanging out with in 1991. They would put on that Cowboys from Hell and all that kind of stuff, and they were just freaking out on how good that stuff was.
I was just watching it the other night. Go ahead,
John. No, I was going to say I saw them with Wrathchild America and Testament, and they were the worst band on the bill. Both Wrathchild America and Testament were better bands, infinitely better at the channel. They were fantastic.
Well, they definitely had
Pantera was
Good Nights and Bad Nights. I've
Sure.
heard that.
I saw them,
That said-
I think it was 91 or 1992, out at a U Fest. And I don't even think they were the headliner. They were just coming up. We just all got our first taste of Cemetery Gates on the radio. And at the very end of the song where he's like, ah, and he's screaming, Paul, you could do the Gates. And then he'd hit that harmonic. Woo! And the end of that song was so cool. And Dimebag, they're getting right to the end of the song where everybody loves that, the screams and those high harmonics. And he hits that one note that gets so high. And Dime broke a string right at that moment. And they all just had to come into some kaboom, typical. No, they just stopped and a typical ending on.
Yeah.
And they
An
all
improvised ending.
They
Yeah.
did a blues ending.
they looked at each other like, damn. And but they were good back then. I enjoyed them.
This was 90, was it 92 or 91? 92 at the Hollywood Palladium. And this show, it's been online and then they have a professional, a soundboard audio with a, an old VHS kind of audience shot. But this, if I'm ever in the mood for Pantera, this is the show that I go to. And it's a small club show, before, like you say, before they really got big. And granted, they never got as big as a lot of the other bands, but this show is amazing. The Hollywood play. If you can find it on YouTube with the soundboard audio, it's just takes you back to that time. Paul, do you remember the Escape Club in Salisbury Beach? Or Chapter 2, I think it was called. A couple of different names.
I think I remember when it was called Sneakers.
Yeah, I think it's the same one. And it was just a metal. A small, like maybe might have been 1,800 seat standing room. I saw Overkill there. I saw all just like the old metal bands. Who else? Like Deicide I saw there, and the death metal bands and stuff at the time. But it's just cool to see a club show like that, and everyone's just going crazy. And I remember getting hurt.
Rage Against the Machine in a club.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty amazing.
Well, you saw a lot of shows at the Paradise. I never got into Boston to see any of those. Some of the theaters I saw shows at, but.
I lived down the street from the Channel, which used to be the Boston
Channel,
Tea Party.
yeah.
Which when Led Zeppelin played there, it was the Boston Tea Party, and the Channel was like a big famous club on the Channel going into South Boston, and every band that was playing on the club circuit would play there. That was their big one, and it was within walking distance from my house in Southie, so it was easy to go there, get drunk, and stumble home. And we did a lot.
Going back to Pantera. The album, the Cowboys from Hell and Cemetery Gates and stuff like that, he was still singing. And you could hear, I'm not going to sing for you guys, but he was still
come on.
singing. He wasn't shouting so much. And after that album did so well, their management or whoever, or the guys in the band, they sat there and they said to themselves, look, we are allowed now to make the heaviest music anybody has ever heard. And that was their mission. And it worked for a lot of people. But for me, being like an 80s hair metal kind of guy, and maybe being, more into Motley Crue or whatever, the second album, The Vulgar Display of Violence, was that the album, or what was it called?
Vulgar Display of Power.
That's
Vulgar
right.
Display of Power.
That one got a little bit too heavy and lacked a little bit of melody and this and that for me. So
yeah, after that point, I think they've kind of went in somewhat of a different direction. They just weren't as, in my opinion, they didn't have as good albums after Vulgar Display, and I don't remember what came after that.
The first two were the best.
Far Beyond Driven.
What came before Cowboys? Was there one? Far Beyond Driven was before or after Cowboys.
Before Cowboys was Power Metal, and before that they released 3 albums with a guy named Terry.
Yeah, the hair
Terry
band
Glaze on vocals.
Yeah.
Terry Glaze went on to be in a band called Lord Tracy, and I know this because I have the Lord Tracy CD.
I've heard of that, and it's a play on Tracy Lord, the porn star,
yes.
right?
Yeah, but they put out 3 albums as a glam hair band that Diamond Vinny's father had produced, and then they put out that Power Metal record, which was the first one with Phil when they still sort of had big hair.
Yeah.
Do you
And
have
then,
any of that on?
obviously-
Do you have that on vinyl? Any of that early hair metal stuff they did?
No, I have all that on digital, and I have the Lord Tracy record.
Because that's a lot of money to find some of that early Pantera when they were hair metal on vinyl. They're
Right.
out there. That stuff's out there though.
Yeah, they distanced themselves from that as soon as they could. Yeah.
Well, it was all on Vinny's Jerry Abbott's label. Jerry
that's
Abbott
right,
had
yeah.
his own independent label.
Really?
So yeah, I think it was
So
Metal
d-
Magic
so
or something like that.
Did the brothers come from money? Did they? I mean, what was their father's background? What was their? Not that it matters.
I think he was a local music producer in Texas. I don't
Mhm.
know for sure, but I think he was a local music producer in Texas or a music manager. I think
Yeah.
he was tied into the music scene in Texas at the time. And obviously Dime was a prodigy that was winning these guitar jam festival type deals in his teens, kind of like Jason Becker. And they were, they were influenced by our friends Eddie and Alex. So
Yep.
that was
Alex
their
in the
big
comments,
influence.
Alex Radford in the comics has said, I just told Olaf England that we were talking about him. Yeah, that's my vote for getting he's my vote for the replacing Dime. Let's go for Olaf.
Who was Ola?
Now I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but Ola England. That's his YouTube channel. And the dude shreds.
Oh, okay.
He does those videos, Will It Chug? And he takes a little tiny amp and Will It Chug? And he's really good. He's my vote for the replacement of Dime. You get Rex in there. You get Phil in there. You get Ola England on lead guitar.
So who's on drums?
Who's
Dave
on
Lombardo?
drums?
Vinnie Paul is gone, right? We lost him
Yeah,
a year or so ago.
Gene Hoagland.
Get that guy from the Foo Fighters on drums.
Lars Ulrich on drums. No, but maybe yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, Ola England, that's his name. Dude shreds.
I mean that, and it's true. I mean, there's so many. I don't know if you want to call them prodigies or whatever, but genius guitar players that are out online. They've got their YouTube channels and everything, but they're still sort of unknown, and they could replace any of these guys. I mean, because they're, at least from what I've seen, and I don't really know them by name, or I've heard of Johnny Beane and stuff like that, but
Johnny Beane.
But
He's a legend.
everyone's heard of Johnny Beane.
There
But
we go. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I have to have my camera on, or off and on throughout the night because there's different stuff going on in the background.
He's smuggling people across the border.
And do you have a diaper on that dog? Do you have
Yes.
a diaper?
Yeah,
On the- He's got that.
yeah. He wears diapers. He wears t-shirts sometimes. He wears shoes.
it's just a fashion statement, right?
There's a cat in the neighborhood where I live, and Paul, you were talking about feral cats. There's a cat in my neighborhood that walks around all the time, and it has a diaper on it. Somebody is putting a diaper on a cat, and it's the
Jeez.
craziest thing.
That is funny.
And I don't think it's trying to prevent the cat from urinating in the house or something, because it's walking around outside. So after seeing this cat, I'm thinking that it's a form of birth control.
Or maybe it's hung like a
chastity
moose.
belt.
Oh.
A chastity diaper.
Yeah, it's a chastity diaper.
A cat city.
A catstity. There
A
you
cat
go.
city.
Yep. Nesdal I think Nesdal might have hit the nail on the proverbial head. Maybe he's dragging a snail trail between his hind.
Yeah, he's probably hung like a moose.
For his own
Yeah, it's
benefit.
possible.
Yeah, it can get painful.
Really quickly, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. What are your guys' thoughts on Rick Ocasek? Rest in
Another
peace.
Boston sort of
Classic.
upstart.
Ocasek.
Guys, I got a little Eddie Money story. Now, a good friend of mine that comes into the store about, I'm going to say 18 months ago, he took me to the Eddie Money show. And Eddie's got all his kids playing in the band and everything. And we sat through the show out in one of the casinos out here.
Bless you.
And I was kind of like, I don't know. I guess it's all right. But I got a photo with Jessie Mahoney, the girl that was singing. And So now here it comes maybe about a month ago, or I guess 2 months ago, my buddy Glenn calls me and he goes, "Hey, I got Eddie Money tickets." And I'm like, "I don't know, man.
I got 2 tickets to Paradise.
I
Yeah.
see what you did there.
We just got, he's got Eddie Money tickets." And I'm like, "Well, I just went with you like a year ago and we saw him. And I'll be honest, man, the guy wasn't very good and he's looking old. Come on, man, go to Eddie Money with me." I'm like, "Okay." So I went to the Eddie Money show and he did not look good. Here I am with, I don't know. Let me see if I can show you guys this. There's a photo of me with Jesse Mahoney. Paul, I've already showed you that photo. So she was the background singer and she sang "Take Me Home Tonight" and she did all that kind of stuff. But so I go to the second time I'm seeing Eddie Money in like 2 years. And he's not looking good. And he comes out on stage and we're like, wow, Eddie is not looking good. And his microphone, after the first song, it stops working. And he's singing and the mic doesn't work. So the roadie that's running the monitors runs out here, hands Eddie another microphone. And Eddie's not looking real good, but he's pushing on. And then, so it's about his fourth song, the microphone stops working again. And he takes that mic and he looks at, and he just takes the mic and he's all mad and he's frustrated. And you can tell he doesn't want to be there. And he takes that mic and he just whips it at the roadie sitting on the side of the stage, the guy running the monitors. He just throws the microphone at it. And I was
how did Eddie look?
Going, oh my God.
If that was Eddie Van Halen, you just would have fired him.
Yeah. So, you know what I did? I said, "Glenn, I'll be honest with you, bro. I'd rather just go home and watch TV and sit around, get ready for work tomorrow or whatever I have to do. Thank you for the ticket, but I'm going to go home." Well, so I left, and this was 4 or 5 songs into the show, and people were just walking out the doors with me.
Oh, man.
He was emptying the place out. And then the next day I hear that after like 5 or 6 songs, they put him on a stretcher and they took him to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And then he died. So I feel really bad. I walked out on his very last performance of his life.
Man.
I know it.
Eddie, I used to work at a venue up here, and Eddie would play at least twice a year, usually twice a year. And he was always fun. He always had and he'd stay at the beach for a couple of weeks or a couple of days anyway, for a week or so, and with his whole family. And but that was, I haven't worked a show there in 15 years. So
Eddie comes in, he's on our show, on our radio show, and we're doing this interview with him, and he's getting ready to wrap this up, and he's dead serious when he says it. So he goes, "Guys, before I leave, I need to tell you this story about some friends of mine who they worked for Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus." So we're going, "Oh, all right, well, Ed's got a great story." He goes, "And they were trying to adopt a kid, and the adoption agency said, 'Well, you guys are sort of Bedouins, you're gypsies, you go from town to town. It's not exactly the most stable lifestyle for a kid.'" And Eddie goes, "Well," and so they said to the adoption agency, "Look, he's going to learn a business. They're going to learn what it's like to travel. They'll see the country. They'll have an idea of what's going on. To see America from coast to coast. This is a great idea." And so the adoption agency says, "Well, sure. Well, we've reconsidered. What would you like to be adopting, a boy or a girl?" And Eddie Money's friend said, "It doesn't matter as long as they fit in the canon." And Eddie told the story like straight, like it was a real story.
Wow.
And it was, and the way he told this, and then it was just like, Eddie also referred to himself as the money man. He was like, "Dave, you do your Gene Simmons of Kiss." Well, Eddie Money would always be, "I'm the money man."
Dave's
the
not
money
here.
man. Eddie Man. So he would jump into. Oh, he quit.
He went to bed.
He can't get a word in. So the Eddie Money apparently stole like a guy's cab outside of a bar once. There was a line of people waiting for cabs in New York City. And Eddie Money comes running out and jumps right in front of the guy and goes, "Money man needs a cab." And jumps in the car and goes.
That's funny.
So.
Oh man.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he told the story with a straight face. Hilarious.
That's funny.
I will say we all looked forward to his wife coming every year too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He outkicked his coverage.
Right.
Even mediocre.
That's what I remember most about the Eddie Money days.
Even mediocre musicians can get great women. What was it the Eddie Murphy joke? Sing is all you got to do.
He had a ton of hit songs. He had probably 30
Oh yeah, man.
top
Jeez.
40 songs. He had a boatload of them.
Mm-hmm.
David's back.
I'm back.
Oh, everybody.
Still fighting the cold, so I'm gonna keep coughing.
I see Guitar Hack in the comments. How you doing, Hack?
Yeah, what's going on in the chat? Anyone got questions?
Yeah, wake up out there.
Wake up in
G.
here.
Bushnoff says, I remember that I was shocked when I saw how big his belly was. Well, that happened.
Eddie Money's belly? He
Dude,
was
I guess
70.
so. I'm guessing it was Eddie.
You mean when you look down? I know. I'm getting a big belly. I gotta do something about
That's
it.
right, Soda. Snotty kids.
I'm going to show you guys the worst guitar to have if you have a big beer belly going on. Here it is.
I'm gonna guess an Ovation.
A jumbo Gibson.
Oh, a
He's a
headless.
smart guy.
Oh, wow,
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
I'll try to play this thing.
Dave
for
got
you
it.
guys. Whoa,
David Nesdahl for the win.
hold on. Here,
That was a good one, Dave.
damn it.
You got to hold it all the way out here.
Damn.
You know, hold it all the way out.
Here we go. Damn.
Oh, shoot. What do you guys think about Ovations? I mean, I always thought they were still pretty adequate instruments. You know,
Well, you
whenever
know
I
what?
played them. They're obviously they are hard to sit down with, but
You got to use a standing ovation.
I
there
get,
you go.
I get older guys that come in my store. And there's older guys that come in my store and they are still wanting old Ovations. But my theory is I think Taylor guitars kind of took over where they left off. And everybody nowadays kind of wants a Taylor.
Well, weren't they kind of the original electric acoustic guitars? Ovation, they were one of the first to have that transducer pickup that. Or what is a piezo
They were
pickup?
certainly the most popular of it. I mean, obviously you have that. I still have.
I mean, they started making
the old pickups you put in the sound hole. They were the first ones that really made it a single unit.
Right.
That made it popular anyway. That was their thing. That was their niche.
Guys sitting here the other day, I'm in my back repair room, and I've got a little TV back there with an antenna, and the Partridge Family was on. And they were playing when they were singing the song.
Ovation
Keith had
bass,
a
right?
Big old white. I think it was a breadwinner. Looked really cool. So
The Ovation bass.
yeah, little Danny was playing a white Ovation bass, but Keith, the lead singer dude, was strumming and I know it's all fake. Don't try to tell me that the Partridge Family is real.
They must have started. Did Ovation start with electrics or John Biel?
Oh, John Biel, come on.
I think
Because I feel like I saw them that they made some electrics in the late '60s, and I think they came.
What's
up
the
with
question?
The acoustics in the.
I'll look it up.
70s.
Hey, this is John Beane. I'll look it
John
up.
Biel. Let's see what I got.
Correct.
Here we go. It's a
Correct me
race.
if I'm wrong, John. Here's my guess.
I don't remember
and
the question.
Maybe even David Nesdahl will be able to tell me. Was Ovation a Cayman company?
Yep.
And the same people that did Takamine?
Yep.
All right. There you go.
Okay.
So yeah, they were an umbrella, a brand of Cayman musical instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the Ovation page.
That's the Adamus, the big one.
That's the one page that's not stuck together.
Yeah.
True story. I had an Ovation signed by Sammy Hagar, and when I got fired in Kansas City. It was in my office on top of my desk. And when I got fired in Kansas City, they walked me out, and I didn't have a chance to take it with me. So it's still sitting there. Somebody has my Ovation signed by Sammy Hagar.
You're not missing much.
No, I'm not. That's why I was at work and not here in my house.
Here's the quote from Ovation. For the touring band of the 1960s, accurate amplification of acoustic guitars on stage was a constant problem. A microphone on the front of the guitar was inefficient and tied up the performer to one spot. An electric guitar pickup stuck in an acoustic guitar gave little of the original sound quality of the adapted instrument. In the late 60s, Ovation Company, based in Connecticut, came up with the new idea of electroacoustic guitar, and you know the rest. But so yeah, I guess the late 60s they started coming out with their and they started in 66 solid body, yeah, with some solid body. So
Alex, yeah, I read that, but everybody started talking about Eddie Money instead. But yeah, Rick Ocasek.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's get back
Rick
to that.
Ocasek. I mean, the Cars. Another amazing. Oh, sorry, John. Amazing, classic rock, right?
80s rock. I think you have
80s?
to really kind of brand. I wouldn't brand them classic rock or
Well, even
what-
stuff from the '90s now is considered classic rock.
What was it? What was it? Not new wave, but like I guess Talking Heads and that kind of stuff. What did they classify that as? I mean, that's what I would.
That
Blondie and
was
it's almost yeah.
that was kind of yeah, it was.
Thomas Dolby.
Blondie was almost a punk rock band with all
Right.
the GBs and everything they did.
Talking Heads as well. Yeah.
Uh-huh. They even had a rap song.
Blondie. Oh, that was the worst.
Oh, yeah,
rap
rap-
actor.
They even rapped. Yeah.
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 Wendy O. Williams.
Wendy O. Williams. Who said that?
What was the
I
question?
know. My buddy Neil.
What do you got there?
Wendy O put out just a Pepsi one. Wendy O put out a great Kiss album in 1984. It was basically a Kiss album with Wendy O singing it, called "Wow." It's the one
Of
that had the
Was
song
it Kiss
"Touch
covers?
My Life" on it.
Covers?
No. It was essentially everybody from Kiss played on the record and Wendy was singing. Gene Simmons produced it. It was one of those moments where Gene, remember back in the early mid '80s, he was producing Keel and Black and Blue. That's where he made the Tommy Thayer connection originally. And
I love Black and Blue.
He produced. I have it here somewhere.
Hold On to 18 is the Black and Blue song that I love. Cool song.
This record is
Wendy O.
Wendy O. Williams. It's produced by Gene Simmons with a special guest appearance by,
Healthy lungs.
yes, she killed herself.
Reginald Van Helsing.
Yeah, that was Gene.
Who is that? Is that Gene?
Yeah.
Is that his real name or is that just a
No,
pseudonym?
It was a pseudonym. So essentially, you look at everybody that's on there, and it's kissed. And
Yeah.
if you look,
That's cool.
there's one of the songs on it, "Thief in the Night" was a Kiss song. "It's My Life," Ace Frehley co-wrote and played on. "Ain't None of Your Business," I think, was a Kiss song as well. So this whole record was essentially, and Wendy O had great tits, but she was
She wore them well.
she just did.
It's not she was a great singer. Oh, she
You know what? They
But
harassed.
she was not a great singer. She was horrible. She sang like Lemmy.
Well, I mean, but she got harassed by people, law enforcement, and different people like that. I remember. I hear a story where she got arrested because she took a sledgehammer and she just did this motion to a sledgehammer, and somewhere in Canada or someplace they arrested her for doing that, and so much stuff. Yeah, they.
David Lee Roth was doing that every night.
I
Did
know.
they,
Yeah, well,
did they
she
take her
also-
away off on horses?
The-
They put her on the
She
back of the
also-
horse.
But she also would go on stage topless with electrical tape over her nipples. So
Was she
yeah.
the one
No, she was
that was in the
pushing
tubes? Was she the tubes or was that
No,
somebody else?
Plasmatics.
she was not in the tubes.
Plasmatics. Okay.
plasmatics.
Yeah. I and they were like they did some early MTV stuff. I think if
Yeah.
I recall.
Yeah, she was the one that chainsawed the car, and she did her own stunts in her videos, which was kind of neat. There's a video where she reenacted the end of Thelma and Louise, where they're driving the car off the cliff, and she grabs a rope ladder on a helicopter and she did the stunt herself. She was nuts. I shot herself in the chest in the woods in Connecticut. Killed herself.
Was that a stunt? Gone bad?
Well, no, it was a great stunt. She could only pull it off once, though.
I can only do it once, though.
So she
Death is
made
a great
Kiss
career
album.
move.
But now, Neanderthal, you made a Kiss album, or you recorded yourself singing too, right?
Yeah, I did. I found a DVD because I'm a terrible guitar player, but I sang in a band years ago and found the tracks of Ace Frehley doing. It was Ace Frehley, Matt Sorum, and Chris Wise doing, laid down the rhythm tracks to Cold Gin and Shock Me, and I just laid the vocals down on it for fun.
Is there any way you could pull that up on your phone and give us a little listen to that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there is, but I'm not going to do it.
Okay. It sounded good, man.
We'd be flagged anyway. You can't play other people's music on here.
Yep. Yeah, there's an algorithm that when you start playing copyrighted music,
They shut it down right away.
The cane comes out the side of the screen.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like being at the Apollo.
The gong, get gone.
But in this instance, they're doing the public a great service.
You guys want to see some pedals that I just got today?
Sure.
Anybody up for it?
Sure, definitely.
All right.
I guess.
They're all sitting right now. Okay, who cares? But here's a little Wampler tape echo. Just pulled this thing in today. And I think I have a price of, what do I have that price at? $89.
Wow, that's cheap. That's cheap money.
That's not bad, huh?
Shit, I'm moving down there.
I got a Tube Screamer. There you go.
$75.
Oh, it's one of those Ibans.
75.
That's an Ivan.
It's an Ivan.
Herschel Iban. You don't know
It's
him.
one of those Ibars.
Oh, guys, hang on for this one.
Vintage delay.
That's a vintage delay.
It's vintage.
If a delay lasts long enough, aren't they all vintage?
If anybody lasts long enough.
87. Nice.
87.
Cool. I wonder
What
if
I
you
love,
could-
I love the fact that he has these pedals with the old price tag on him. Like he's got a price tag gun. Like
Yeah,
in
the
Stop
gun,
Shop.
yeah.
Bass synth.
Still dirty and everything. I haven't even cleaned that one. Usually I try to clean stuff.
vintage
Every
dirt.
guitar I get, I restring. I always try to.
Now, are
They're
you getting
Relic
those?
pedals.
Are you getting those from customers selling them to you, or online?
Doing trade-ins. Guys will bring all day long. It was really busy today, but guys will bring 2 or 3 old guitars in. And
How much is
try
that?
to trade out.
$59.99. God, is that $59.99?
Yes, for the Hall of Fame.
Yep,
That's not
$60. What a smoking deal.
He said, as the guy who's selling it.
That's right. Always a
Yeah.
salesman.
That one. I've got that one. I still have loops in there from like 13 years ago.
Is that a
Vintage
Boss?
loops.
Is that a Boss?
Yeah,
or-
that's
Digitized.
the original loop station.
RC20 XL.
The original, the double. It's one of the twin pedals.
double.
Now you can get
It's
that.
like
You can get that in a
two-pedal.
single now. Yeah.
He can get it in doubly.
It's doubly, yeah.
How much
It's in
is that?
doubly.
How much is that one?
I got this thing priced at
You can probably sell all these pedals to the guys in the chat.
Really?
Us right now. I'll take one.
That's a deal for that. You know how much that thing is brand new?
What is that?
What is that?
It's far from brand new. It's like 1990s technology there.
I can't say. What does that
This one.
say on it?
This is a Donner
Oh, it's a Donner pedal.
harmonized, harmonic square.
$29.99.
I don't know. Yeah, you can get these things on
like a
eBay for $30.
kind of a synth kind of.
Problem with the Donner pedal is when you take it out into the wilderness, it eats you.
So yeah.
Oh,
That's
Man,
a Dahmer.
presume-
That's a Dahmer pedal.
Oh,
Small
yes.
stuff.
Oh.
Very nice. That's a good chorus pedal. Good chorus.
That's vintage. That's definitely vintage.
No, it's a reissue.
No, is it?
Some guys don't like them because it takes the old style of input, and that's kind of a hassle.
Yeah.
But you got to just put a battery in it.
But you can get that style of input though too.
So basically, that's what.
Oh, I have that
Oh,
noise reducer right here.
I had that Fender tuner, but it exploded. Like I stepped on it one time, and the whole thing fell apart.
Oh, it's so funny. Exploded.
Well,
Clean them
that's
and
Fender.
spray them out. Get that
Yeah, I used
electronic.
to use that one though. I used to have that one.
Yeah. So that's what kind of came in today.
Huh? Don't get them to raise the prices. No, that's a deal on that. That RC that loop station. That's $79.
It might not be the best business motto to have, but I try to beat prices on eBay. You know, if I see a pedal's trending at $80 on eBay, I'll go 75 for it. You know, I got other stuff.
Man, let's see if we can get rid of one of those tonight.
Absolutely.
You should see what happens sometimes when because Zim does his own streaming on Fridays at like 1 o'clock.
Friday at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock Arizona time.
I was there. I was on one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how we met.
That's how we met.
And every once in a while he'll get bored and he'll just give a guitar away. He'll be like, you got to come down here in the next 10 minutes and tell me you saw it on the stream and you can have it.
And you have all the guitars, right?
Oh no.
White
No.
fretboard.
Look at that thing. That is
None of
The
hideous.
only thing I've
What
ever
is that?
given away was a little Fender Rage 20 amp or something like
Is
that.
that a set neck?
There are none more. That's none more white.
Look at that. That's a nice
This
looking.
is an Epiphone Snow Falcon
Right.
that I just
That's exactly
recently
what it is.
got. So it's a limited edition. Brendan Small,
Who?
the creator of Metalocalypse.
And creator of Bob's Burgers, and then I don't know if
Right.
he did Bob's Burgers, but he did Dr. Katz and all those shows.
Yeah, and so
That would be a guitar that Angel would play.
this has Gibson pickups in it. Now it came factory with Gibson, a Burstbucker 1, Burstbucker 2. It's got the coil split. Don't call it a coil tap. I'm always guilty of that. And it has a kill button too, so you can set in beep, 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 which is tons of fun.
You can zap everybody.
Got a little tiny scratch right there.
Oh,
Other than that, it's really nice.
got to knock $10 off that.
I know, $10 off. Yeah.
The great thing about that kill button is you can, if you get lost in the woods, you can just hold that guitar up and Morse code your way out of it.
That's right.
Just don't drop it in the snow. You'll lose it.
Yes, exactly. Well, the good part about it is you'll have that Donner pedal there to eat you.
Well, don't forget the Donner Party. They died in the snow, didn't they?
Welcome back. I'm glad somebody else is old enough to get that reference.
Yeah, it wasn't. We weren't. When you first said Donner, I wasn't thinking Dahmer. I was thinking Donner.
Right.
The
Yes.
Donner Party.
Yep.
What?
But then you brought up Dahmer, and it worked too.
All right.
Was,
so
Nesdal brought
this
Dahmer in there. He
No, I just said I'm
big-timed me.
dumber. I didn't say Dahmer. I said I'm dumber.
He topped me. Hashtag topper.
Wow,
Gold
look at that. Oh, look at
All right.
those
So
P90s, man.
Yeah.
this
That 50s
guitar has
tribute?
Neanderthals' name written all over it. Because
Ooh.
whenever I get a Gibson, he's one of the first guys that I show.
It's a tribute, right?
I believe
56 tribute.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a 9, 6 is the first and fifth. So it's showing a 96 Les Paul tribute. You got the P90s in it. You guys know mahogany. There's no coil tap or split or any of that kind of stuff.
3 million piece back.
Yeah.
There's at least 3.
Yeah.
And on Reverb, they're bringing about $700. And that's why I have this one priced at $750. So there's that little wiggle
That's a
room.
good price.
But I think that at one time, this guitar had a Bigsby on it. Because you see where it's got a hole right there and right there where it's been filled?
Yeah, where the trapeze would be.
You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
And it also has a hole right here that's been filled.
Yeah,
And
that'd
you
be
can
a
see
big
a little bit of light scuffing and stuff on here. But yeah, I believe it had a Bigsby on it at one time.
That's
Oh.
cool.
Nice.
Just
I'd
essentially
love
a
that with the
studio.
Bigsby.
Yeah, it's a
Bisbee.
studio tribute.
Yeah.
I'll take one with a Busby on it.
Busby Berkeley, Bixby.
Donner Bigsby.
Aaron, he would probably take $675.
Domer Bigsby.
Yeah, you already got a bid on that.
It comes with an Epiphone Les Paul case.
That's all right.
Yeah. You guys want to see the best guitar case ever invented in the world?
Sure.
This is going to be, you guys can argue that.
Oh.
See, to say fragile right on there. That's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the Joe Bonamassa
Nerdville.
Epiphone 335.
Is that a real town in California, Nerdville?
No, he just calls his
It's his
house
house.
Nerdville.
There is a town in California called Hangtown, though, where they would do lots of hangings.
Wow.
So you guys seen it's the
Casino? Is that a
335, I
casino
believe.
or?
No, it's an Epiphone 335. That's not a casino.
Okay.
This has the Joe Bonamassa inlay. And so there's only one of these. I've scoured the internet, and there's only one of these for sale anywhere in the world right now. They only made 300 of this model with the inlays like that. And somebody's asking like $1,500 for one. And believe it or not, this thing walked into my store, and I traded a bunch of stuff away to get it. And I leave it in the case. I won't hang it out on the wall. It's got this kind of stuff going on here.
Great tone, terrible penmanship.
Yeah, so
I dig Black Country Comedian, though.
guys are kind of offering me like $1,000 guitars for it and stuff, and I'm being very hesitant
Take it.
to let that one go just yet. I have to ride it out for a while.
I would just say cash only.
Yeah.
Something like that, you know.
But you know what? With everybody having back in the old days before the interweb, guitar resellers used to have knowledge. Nowadays, you can have a kid working at a pawn shop with his cell phone going, "Oh, those things go for $1,500, you know."
Yeah.
And so you don't need the knowledge that you used to need back in the 80s.
That's how I came into my G&L. I have a G&L USA Legacy that I paid $340 for because the kid in the shop had no idea what a G&L guitar was hanging on his wall.
Yeah.
Gave it to me. It's an ash. I'll grab it if you want. It's a butterscotch ash guitar with all the vintage G&L 3-bolt neck. So it's like a 96 or a 97. $340 with a hard case out the door.
Yeah, there was a time. I mean, when you could walk into a pawn shop and get a good deal. I mean, $100 guitar, you could find some great deals for $100 back in the day. That was what I've got several that I don't have anymore. But
or you can get an even better deal if you can run.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's how Sammy Hagar got his first guitar, right?
That's how Nicky Six got his, too.
that's the story. Yeah, I've heard that.
You can run 55.
You got to still.
It's good. It's two.
I can't pay.
Two zingers, Johnny. Two zingers that you really did good.
Mm-hmm.
How's the flame, Dave? Looking good.
Are you a big Vi guy, Dave?
No, I'm just a big guy. No, I love Steve Vai. I think he's great.
Right.
You know, I grew up with him.
Did you really?
I grew up with him here, in Long Island.
Oh, you want to pick that up?
Huh?
You want to pick that up? It's right behind
Pick what up? The name that I just dropped? Oh, it's on the floor. It's right next to me.
It's right there. It's right
I know.
there.
You watch my videos, don't you?
He just
got
used
that
your
right
own line
thing.
on you.
Yep.
Dave, you hung
I
out with
caught-
him 2 weeks ago, didn't you?
I caught you getting Johnny Beane on that years ago. I forget what you guys were doing.
Johnny,
It might have
look,
been-
it's right beside you.
it's right beside you. It's right
Look
behind
down.
you.
Look
What?
down, bro. What? That
Oh,
name you
Dave.
dropped. It's right
What's up,
there.
Dave?
And I think that was the exact response to that Johnny Bean snicker.
No, I didn't drop a name. I never drop names. I actually know these people. I've shaked their hands once.
Right.
Well, I had dinner at my
I know
parents.
him, but Johnny, but does he know you?
I had dinner at my parents tonight. And we were having that debate. My dad is a big classic rock fan, and we were listening to, I think it was Santana, and that's his favorite guitarist. And he said, "So who's the best guitarist ever?" I said, "Well, I'm biased. I'll say Eddie automatically." But then I started, we started kind of thinking about it, and so for his era, I think like Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton were probably the 60s and 70s equivalent. But and then you get into the 80s. Ed owned the 80s, and then Vi and some of those other guys.
I agree with you with the Jeff Beck thing. That me personally, but I don't think he could be. I don't think he could be.
He doesn't have the catalog that some of the other guys have.
It's not the catalog. It's not the catalog. It's that he's not a household name.
Well,
No, he
because he doesn't have
an
the
underground
catalog.
name.
Everyone
Well, he
and their
does have
grandmother,
yeah.
everyone and their grandmother knows who Jimi Hendrix is and who Eric Clapton is. Everyone and their grandmother knows who Eddie Van Halen is.
The guy signature right behind you. Do you still play it? Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah, okay.
I think if you're a guitar player that sings, that's going to help you a lot. Eric Clapton is maybe not a better guitar player than Jeff Beck, but Clapton sings. And so he did, Jeff Beck wasn't the singer. You'd never
Very instrumental,
heard his voice.
guitarist.
Well, Jeff Beck was doing fusion and stuff like that, before it was a thing. He was way ahead of the curve. He was so ahead of the curve. He was like progressive rock, where the musicianship was so worlds ahead. He might be the most schooled of those big guitar players when you talk about Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Pete Townsend, all those guys of that time. Jeff Beck may be the most technically proficient of those guys. He
And
and
I
Richie
love Jeff
Blackmore.
But like Dave
He and
says,
Richie
he
Blackmore.
was never a household name. He wasn't, he wasn't in, a big band like Cream or like, the Rolling
Yeah,
Stones or something like that.
Well, I mean, he was in a big band.
Faces, or what was he in? The
That
Yardbirds.
He was in the Yardbirds.
The Yardbirds. And back then, that was a big band. It's just that we're talking about guitar heroes, or guitar players that changed the guitar.
How many other guitar heroes were in the Yardbirds? Jimmy Page.
Yeah,
two.
three of them.
Jimmy
It's
Page
three
played
altogether.
What's the other one? The third.
That would be Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, there you go. There's the.
Yeah, but that Beck Bogart a Peace record is phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Jeff Beck. He's one of my favorite guitar players. He's definitely in my top 10.
But he's a name drop player, and you know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like all those people that like to tell you that Terry Kath was better than Jimi Hendrix.
There you go.
I love Terry Kath and all, but no.
But you know what I'm saying. There's that group of people that are in the know, or that they're the nuggets that are under the radar. That there's some unknown, unnamed guitar players they can pull out of their ass.
There's guitar players that when they're jamming, they know exactly what note they're doing and at what time and why they're playing that note. Terry Kath from Chicago, when you watch the 24, 25 or 6 to 4, when he's just jamming through that, there's really not much rhyme or reason to. He's just in that scale.
You watching the Tanglewood video?
Yeah, he's just yeah.
Great show, the Tanglewood 70.
Jeff Beck knows he doesn't noodle his way through songs. He knows exactly when and where and why he's on every one of those notes.
Yeah, but he's a lot like Albert Lee too, where he would just go on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah, it's kind of just following your fingers as opposed to following your brain. I mean, you can both. I mean, you can be a great guitarist and do both or either. If it's coming directly from your brain or if it's just a physical thing where you've rehearsed, somebody like Jerry Garcia, who used to just sit down and play scales all day long, just play scales. And that's in your fingers. But then there's the people like, somebody like Jeff Beck, who's all feeling, or Carlos Santana or Terry Kath, who it's in their head, and it's just like it's not necessarily a direct physical thing. It's more like an emotive type of thing.
John.
I don't know if that makes sense.
John.
I'll say David Gilmour.
David Gilmour.
Gilmour doesn't just noodle his way. Every note Gilmour plays, he's rehearsed that right there, and he's on it. He knows why he's hitting that note.
Robert Plant once said it, but he was talking about John Bonham, and it's not what you play, it's what you don't play. You know, you got to let some of those notes breathe. And that's what I think a lot of those shredding guitar players who do what I call little Italies, which is those guitar players, you know, it's okay to be fast, but as Alice Cooper always says, where's the song? So,
And also,
that's why you got guys like Eddie, and that's why I love Nuno so much, because Nuno can do it all.
really quick, Dennis. Yeah, will the new EVH 1550 guitars be as good as the Wolfgang Specials? Which version are you talking about? But as far as the new EVH 1550 guitar, the solid color ones, I'm assuming you're talking about, I think they'll be amazing. I have not played one yet, but I will play one in January. And John Beale, you're still here. Did you see this picture? You guys are talking about Beck. Did you guys see this picture that just came out?
Yeah, I saw that a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's cool. That's 85.
Yep,
I would guess.
85.
You know, I love how you could just tell by Ed's haircut what year it was.
Oh, look at Ned.
Nedward.
Look at him.
So you wouldn't put Ned on your lap, huh? You don't. Ned's just kind of like he's not a lap cat. You'd like sit back and like kind of a, what do they call it, like Dr. Claw or something like that. But they just James
Dr.
Bond,
Evil.
the Dr. Evil, yeah.
Dr. Evil. I'm not Dr. Evil, so
No.
I wouldn't do that. But
That's a good thing. Ned's doll.
I was just gonna say that. That's the Ned's doll cat.
Oh, look at that, man.
Nice.
Yeah, this thing came in the other
Dark
day.
cherry burst. Is that like a cherry burst or like a
Yes.
Standard
burgundy
hardtail.
burst?
Which version is that one? Is that okay? That's the one without the locking nut.
Yeah,
Yeah,
made
it's a
in
hardtail.
Mexico.
Originally, when they made those, the hardtails had locking nuts.
The
Did they really?
The
Fender
original ones did, yeah.
made at that Fender plant down in Mexico. And there's a lot to be said about that plant down there that's making all the Charvel stuff, all the, the made in Mexico stuff is really good stuff. One thing that I don't really like about this guitar is, to me, EVH guitar shouldn't be a hardtail. You should have a Floyd on it.
It's like a Ferrari. If it ain't red, it ain't a Ferrari.
So I
Who
don't
said
know.
that?
I don't understand the whole hardtail thing on a.
Does the red Ferrari go faster than a non-red Ferrari?
According to the police, it does.
Did Ed play any hardtails on 15 or 12?
No.
No.
He had one on the road with him, but he didn't play it.
I always loved that picture of Ed with his gold top Les Paul. It's just such an incongruous picture. You don't see too many of them, and it's just kind of fun to see Eddie with a Les Paul.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only reason you only saw a few of those pictures is because he played that guitar in one song.
Well, it wasn't a gold top either. It was a burst. It was a 58 burst.
He has a gold top.
It was the Cradle guitar, right?
That's a burst.
Okay,
You're talking about the one that was in 1980. That's a sunburst.
that's a sunburst, right? Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, when he took the pickup out of it, if there was no neck pickup in it,
It was still a sunburst.
and he played it live, that was on, Cradle Will Rock. Yeah, there it is right there. There it is right there.
Oakland. See on the green, 79.
That's not a gold top.
It'd
No,
be 80.
That's
It'd be
a
80.
sunburst.
Oh, wait a minute.
Show was that?
Neanderthal is a picture too.
That is a sunburst guitar. It's just faded.
Huh. I stand corrected.
Yeah, 80. That was 80. Sure.
So that
Everybody's reading.
And well, I'll just
that
looking at
interview
pictures.
Everyone's like,
Roth last week, super
flipping
cool.
pages.
What was that? What's your name? Dale?
Dane.
David Lee Roth. It's been about a week ago now. And you were telling me that Eddie Trunk mentioned you a little bit. So I found that Eddie Trunk video, and he's like, yeah, some station. And he really kind of downplayed you guys. I don't know if it was purposely for any reason, but he
Of course it
said,
was.
yeah, some
Yeah,
DJ
because he's Eddie Trunk. Yeah.
somewhere. I don't know what the name of the station was. Case East S something, and I don't know. He should have gave you
except
props.
he's still mad at me because I didn't put his show on when I was programming KDKB here in Phoenix.
Oh.
Eddie and I get along. I like Eddie a lot. But he knows who did the interview, and he could have easily called me or cited me in that way, and that's all right. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, the part of the thing about radio and broadcasting is thievery, just like music. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where the source comes from. He cited the radio station. I appreciate him doing that. But Eddie knows my number. He knows where to find me. I'm not bitter about it. That's just kind of the way shit goes.
Mm-hmm. I'd be pissed. No.
Life is too short to be mad over little shit like that. David Lee Roth, what was it? 2 things in life to worry about? Don't sweat the small shit. It's all small shit.
So I got a Strat pick guard here. Now, does that look like the authentic David Lee Roth from 2001 signature to you? You guys ever seen it? What do you think, Paul?
It looks like Roth's signature. It looks like
I have
signature.
a pith helmet from 2002 that has that signature on it.
That looks
2001, not a really good year for Dave, was it?
Nothing past 88 has been good for Roth.
What year? When did
That
he?
DLR band was good. That DLR band record was pretty good.
Yeah,
When
John
did he-
Lowry played on it.
John 5 on guitar.
Yeah.
When was Dave working as a paramedic? Was that late 90s or early 2000s? In 2001.
I want to say mid 90s. After it was
remember,
somewhere.
yeah.
I think it was somewhere between. Was it between Your Filthy Little Mouth and the DLR band record?
maybe.
In the chat, who knows?
Yeah, John B.O. Caleb Rappaport, 2003. He says.
All right, 2003. There you go. Thank you, Caleb.
Well, I worked the David Lee Roth show in 2003. It was probably October or November of 2003. I worked a Roth show.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him on the Filthy Little Mouth tour in '94 on Lansdowne Street. I think it was Mamakin, or I forget what the name of the bar it was. Might have even been Axis. And we got a chance to go backstage and meet him. And they do the whole, grip and grin, take a quick picture, that type meet and greet deal. And my buddy who was with me looks at Dave and says, Dave, and it's like one of the weirdest things. He goes, Dave, when you meet people or when you fill out your taxes, what do you put in for occupation? Singer, dancer, entertainer, what do you do there? Dave doesn't miss a beat, looks him straight in the eyes, gives her that smile and goes, group therapist.
I thought he would say something like Enigma.
Yeah. Well, he did write all the songs and design the guitars and strung the guitars. And
No, I'm looking up when he was a paramedic, and it says David Lee Roth is 6 feet tall. Is that true?
No.
No, I'm
Jeez, that would
6'1",
make him
I'm
the
6'1",
tallest
I've got
member
him
of Van Halen
yeah,
by far.
I'm
Actually,
6'1", and I've got him by at least 3 inches.
yeah.
I think they probably put him on this scale when he had his 6-inch heels on.
There you go.
They used to wear those shoes that were like this, big old heels and everything.
Yeah,
UFO used to do that. Or no, the Scorpions. It's cool to look at some of the old Scorpion stuff on how they dressed because they wore those big old shoes with heels. install and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I played bass in a Scorpions tribute band for about a year or so, and that was kind of fun. I got to be, I was the bass player.
who
I
was-
was Francis.
What's his name? Who was the bass player?
Francis
Francis.
Buchholz.
Yeah.
And then
Who
it
was
was
the-
Peter Baltus from Accept for a while.
I really
trying to
enjoyed playing the song Love Drive.
Matthias. Who was Matthias in
Matthias.
Matthias Jobs or something like that?
Matthias Jobs,
Yeah.
He's the balding guitar player.
He was
He's
a
the,
guitar
he's
player.
the better of the two.
Yep. The fun thing about Matthias is he's got his own guitar shop in Germany that he runs when he's not on the road with Scorpions. And when he's out somewhere, if there's a band playing Scorpion songs or a Scorpions tribute band, he'll just jump up and jam with them and play with them just for the fun of it.
Nice. There you
He's
go.
a really, really nice guy. That's an 83.
Gibson?
I think.
Look at that. Nice. I wish there was more of the Scorpions live. I've looked. I mean, even the US Festival, they don't have a full set out there. That's impossible to find.
How much is that guitar?
Oh, this thing's about $1,000.
What year is it?
It's an 83.
83.
And here's
It's,
what's weird about it. Okay, check out the bridge, right?
Oh, it's a
got the
wraparound.
intonated
Wraparound.
wraparound tailpiece that, you know, I don't think
Intonated
that's
too. It's a compensated tailpiece.
It's
Well,
piece, yeah.
be
It's
on
not
there.
original. It's not original. It didn't
Right.
come like someone put that on there.
Yeah, it probably goes to like an old
Junior.
junior.
That's like
Yeah.
double intonation. That's like that guitar is perfect. That's the most perfectly in tune guitar there
I
is.
think somebody moved the strap lock at one time. I think somebody moved it at one time, and yeah, but the reason that I get old used guitars is because they're old used guitars, and for some
Nothing wrong with that. Looking,
People
that's a
didn't-
beautiful
Yeah,
guitar.
they fell out of love with it.
Man, out of love. There you go. Wasn't that 83 was around the time when they first started reissuing the Explorers, or was it earlier?
76.
76,
Gibson
yeah.
reissued them in 76?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know there was the knockoffs, but yeah,
No,
okay.
76 was the most popular
Those were the Koas?
version of that guitar.
Supposedly Koa?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Supposedly Koa wood?
No, they weren't Koa. They were made of mahogany back then.
Okay.
In 58 they were Koa. 58 and
Okay.
59 they were
Thing
Koa.
smells great. It's got a weird scent to it.
Not Koa. They were
It's the smell of some guy's belt
Karina,
buckle.
Karina, not Koa.
Arena. Okay, gotcha.
It's the smell of a belly button.
Yeah.
good smelling guitars. I have that Fender American Original
smelling guitars.
50s Strat that smells like bubble gum.
Yeah. So the
Nitro.
the Explorer, the 76 Explorer, that's the one that the Edge from U2 has, and he's got a bunch of them. But that's the one that you saw on Boy and when he used to play it. Actually, he still plays it. He still plays that guitar.
When did Ibanez do their knockoffs?
I don't know,
that
somewhere in the 70s.
before the
Between
Gibson came back
58
out
and
with them?
76.
It could be 76, I think 75, 76.
So that kind of probably inspired Gibson to reissue them because people were knocking them off, and then Gibson said, "Geez, let's first sue them, let's take them to court, and then let's sell them for twice as much."
Every Explorer now, every stock Explorer, production line Explorer is based on the 76 design.
That's right.
Base Explorer. They're all based on the 76. They're all essentially called the 76 reissue.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good
And they're
guitars.
cool. They're
Yeah.
definitely cool guitars. I think the original 58 just you
Right.
can't beat that guitar.
Did they ever mass produce the 50s versions? I don't think they ever mass produced them, right?
Yeah, well, no, Custom Shop will make you one. And
They put out a
in
67 reissue.
81 and 83 there was they made the Flying V and the Explorer as well in Karina. That was the regular production model. I believe 1981.
Serial number on this one goes 83073. So I believe it's an 83. And this has been changed out. Because you can see
What's up with
Underneath
that?
here, it's hard to see, but you can see
a
where
tremolo.
the posts were mounted.
It's like a
and
Firebird
I'm
tremolo,
missing the
right?
arm for it. I'm missing the
Well,
arm.
they put those on SG specials as well.
So here's a question for the chat and for not for you
It
guys
doesn't look like a
necessarily.
full size body either on that V. Looks like it's a little thinner. A little,
So along with the Flying V and the Explorer, what was the third Gibson model that they?
Futura.
Well, no, but there's another. Was it?
He was asking the
I was
chat.
asking the chat, but there's another one that I'm looking at. That, the Futura.
The modern.
The Modern. That's right.
Modern,
Yeah,
yeah.
the modern.
And what's the difference between the Futura and the Futura? Wasn't one of the three Explorer V ones? It was the Explorer V and Modern, right?
Oh, the
Futura
Modern.
was,
That's right.
Futura
Futura
was
was
a
Modern looked like
70s.
the Modern
It was-
looked a little bit like a Cadillac, right? Or was that the one that looked like a Cadillac fin?
no, that's
Yeah, I can't see what I'm looking at. What else is the Modern? Right there, yeah.
Show us your
Yes.
modern.
That thing's gross looking.
Weird looking.
half
But
a flying V.
now there's a picture of Ed with a guitar that looks similar to that, but it's, as far as I can tell, it's not a Modern or any kind of a Modern. You guys know the one I'm talking about from '81? That odd
Modern?
guitar that nobody knows.
It's actually called the Cat, and it was made by John Gatto from the Good Rats.
Is that right? I was wondering.
That's exactly it.
Let me see if we can find the picture of it. And let's see. Here it is.
I just got my salad.
Ensalada Primavera.
Yeah.
Where'd you get your salad?
From here.
Refrigerator.
Anyway.
So someone in the chat's talking about Steve Lynch from Autograph.
Here we go.
I saw Autograph last summer opening for Queensryche.
Cool. Yeah, that's that.
What'd you say it was? Who made that, Dave?
It's called the Cat. That's the name of the guitar, and it's made by John Gatto from the Good Rats.
Wow. Did he? It looks like he only played that one night. Like somebody gave it to him, and he's like,
He
"Let's
gave
try
it.
out."
John Gatto gave it to him. Gave it to Eddie that night.
That's cool.
Yeah, somebody tweeted. Who was it? Oh, Greg Renoff. If you guys know Van Halen Rising, the book, he includes me in a lot of tweets a lot of times about Van Halen stuff, and they say they had sent that picture, and somebody was saying that somebody else on Facebook insists that that's the guy from Autograph. That's not Eddie.
No.
You know. And I tweeted back, well, if you look at that actual picture, it actually says Van Halen, like on the
But
top
in that
of it.
picture, they think that's the guy from Autograph,
Yeah.
like superimposed or something. That's crazy.
No, they just
Yeah, someone's smoking too much stuff.
it's just Facebook, where people can just argue about stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how that could be anyone but.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
Eddie.
look
and the amps
Yeah.
behind
at
him.
the background. I mean, God, yeah, that's the '81 backdrop right there.
and his body. I mean, no, it's Eddie.
Look at it. Oh my God, that's
Yeah, and look at the top. Look at scroll in on the top right of that picture.
yeah. It does say, where is it?
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, right.
It says Van Halen.
Well, yeah, that's not
There's the
necessarily proof.
VH right there.
September 6th, '81, Baton Rouge.
We gotta find
Baton Rouge.
more info about that show. John BL.
All right, let's find it. Let's see what the set list was from that night. And I could get you that anyway.
What guitar is he? What song is he playing that guitar on?
That's a good question.
All right, it's after 11 o'clock. It's time for me to whip it out.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh!
There it is.
Nice.
Man,
There is the pink, the trans pink.
wow, that's like a bowling ball. Look at that.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It is by serial number the second production trans pink Edward Van Halen signature model in 1991. Made on July. The paperwork I have says July 8th on the spec sheet on it, and if you go to the website, it'll say July 9th. They made one for Ed. He got the prototype. They made another one, and then they made this one. So this is literally the third, according to the serial number and Ernie Ball's, they're dating, the third production trans pink Edward Van Halen model. It is a phenomenal guitar. Now, there are those who will say that it is diminished slightly by the fact that it has the free-floating trem. To them, I would say, suck it. Because it's
You would say wank off.
it is a phenomenal guitar, and I don't care that it has a free-floating trem. Good enough for Steve Vai, good enough for me. And to be honest with you, it doesn't float that far because the cut is not that deep into the body. So it will come up, but it will not come up really far because the fine tuners, the edges of those tuners will hit the body. So, but this is a phenomenal find. I'm stoked that I have it. There isn't a mark on it. The bird's eye in the neck is amazing. It is.
There's a mark on it now.
Yeah, no, that's the bar hit my my mic stand. Nope, not a mark on it. This thing is just 28 years old and no fading. It was a case queen. It will probably stay a case queen for the most part. This will never see outdoor lighting.
It certainly has a really interesting top.
Yeah, and as you know, David, two of my three Eddie Van Halen's have really unique tops on them. This one was originally shipped to England, so it's been the original manifest for it in 1991. It went over to a distributor, the Ernie Ball distributor in England, and came back. And I bought it from a guy up in Illinois, just outside of Chicago, and couldn't be happier. I mean, it is just
I can imagine
this guitar.
Beautiful guitar.
Yeah, it's beautiful, nice. So that was the whole reason I actually came in tonight, was to show off a guitar,
That's it.
because that's it.
Is
All
that
right, good
the
night.
reason why you came in?
Night, Paul.
No,
Yeah.
I came to hang out with my friends. I came to hang with my friends. It's weird. I don't know what that, like, the book match on it is pretty amazing, the way that there's sort of like that splotch in the middle of two pickups.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's almost like it's smiling.
Is that one piece or two piece?
It's book match. No, it's two pieces. I think. It might be one.
Because if I look on mine, if I look like at the bottom,
No, it is one piece. I can't
mine
see
is
a
two
seam.
pieces.
I don't see a seam on it.
There has to be. They
but
were
I have
all
to
they were all
assume-
two
I have
pieces.
to assume, yeah.
They're
I
all
have to-
those guitars are two pieces.
Yeah, I can't see the seam, but it's there. It's got to be there. And this is an early one. There was speculation when I first bought it, because people looked at the headstock, and the trans pinks normally have the black signature. So of course the keyboard jockeys on social media immediately assumed it was a red that had faded to trans pink, but they're wrong.
Yeah. So fuck off.
Yes. Big bag of dicks. Whole bag. Whole bag. An entire bag.
That's right.
Nom, 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 nom.
I'm eating a salad.
Yeah, nice guitar, man. Very
Oh,
nice guitar.
I'm sorry, John. I don't know what you're doing there. There we go.
And it just sounds, like all the Music Mans, it just sounds beautiful unplugged. It rings.
All right, well, I have to top
Fine.
you. I'm sorry. I have to.
Oh,
I
here it
have.
comes.
I have to have the topping guitar of the night.
Son of a bitch.
Hello.
I knew it! I hate you! Damn you, David Nesdall! Damn you to hell!
Sorry. I have to win the card. I have to win the card game.
Well, now we're going to have to play without an ace in his deck.
Oh,
Sorry.
who are you calling a deck?
Eh,
Oh,
I don't have a 50.
Get your Ace Frehley out and show us that thing.
This is not an Ace Frehley.
Oh, I know.
Oh, him.
Dave, Paul's got an Ace Frehley.
Ah,
I've got a couple of them.
That's a nice Epiphone, man.
thank
Yes, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a
Appreciate it.
Greco, right?
you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, now it's a chip in the headstock, and
Oh,
you have to take $10 off for that.
because there isn't enough of them in there, right?
Yeah, you'll have to take $10 off. For
Oh,
that
I wonder if
now,
the guy that doesn't like Relic guitars wants to say something about this one.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Man. Oh, look at Ned.
It's that time of night.
Yeah, he was sleeping, and now I was doing that. And I wasn't kidding. I'm actually eating a salad. I'm actually homemade.
What's wrong with that? Salads are great, man.
No, nothing wrong with it. But I wasn't joking. I'm having my dinner.
The salad is what my food eats.
Eating a salad is like dating a fat girl.
Sure.
You can do it, just don't tell your friends.
Oh my god.
Soda asks Nesdal, how stable is bird's eye neck? It depends. If it's quarter sawn, well, you wouldn't see that many birds if it's quarter sawn, but if flat song, basically bird's eye is a damaged, diseased wood. Yeah, I can talk. It's just late at night and I'm stuttering. It's a diseased wood. It's very pretty, but it's not stable. It's not as stable as hard rock maple, or if neck is quarter sawn as opposed to flat sawn. But you can get lucky. Some of them are very stable, but most of them are not.
So it looks like the band that was opening on that night was G-Force. Anybody ever heard of G-Force, the band?
I've heard of G-Force, the cartoon.
Dragon Force.
With let's see, who was in the band? It was Willie D. Gary Moore. We've all heard of Gary Moore. Tony Newton, Mark Nusef. So that was in that odd night in Baton Rouge. I was just wondering if maybe the somebody from that camp from G-Force may have inspired him to play that. Just trying to see if there's any more info on. But I know I've looked it up before. I can't find much info on that guitar or anything, except for what Dave Nesdal can tell us.
All I can tell you is what I already know. And that's pretty much it.
And I did find another picture of another from Blue Oyster Cult. The guitarist from Blue Oyster Cult was playing a similar guitar, if I can find that picture.
Well, Blue Oyster Cult and the Good Rats are both Long Island, New York-based bands, and they were friends with each other. So if the guy from Blue Oyster Cult was playing one, then you can rest assured that John Gatto gave him that guitar.
Right here.
Because John Gatto made those guitars. He built them.
Now, is that the same?
It's similar. That's not the same.
That was the best I could find. Yeah, and it's not the same that Ed's playing, but it's. I did do some John BL research on that guitar, so it's not the same. To no avail.
Whoa.
So. Fruitcake Tony says Van Halen had some really no-name T-shirt and opening in the early '80s. We know what a T-shirt band is, right? Yeah. So a lot of they weren't necessarily even one-hit wonders. They were, just a cool band that was probably on Warner Brothers at the time, or maybe who was their manager at the time?
In '81,
Noel Monk.
Noel Monk.
Somebody that Noel Monk must have known, or Ned's cleaning himself. Yeah, Ned, not on camera.
There you go.
Not on camera.
He chases his tail.
Yeah, he's biting his foot now.
Fret level. I haven't been a hockey fan since 1984.
Yeah, when does hockey start? I'm waiting for the Bruins. I saw a pre-season
October
game.
5th. October 5th, they open out here against the Coyotes.
You a Bruins fan, Paul? Still?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
By the way, here you go.
Nobody's a Coyotes fan. I wouldn't ask that.
Dane asked to see the Ace Frehley, so there you go. There's the 97 Ace Frehley signature model, which has the lightning bolts in the neck and Ace's picture on the headstock.
Nice.
What's on the truss rod cover? Is that an Ace?
It's an Ace. It says Les Paul
Ace,
underneath.
with the hearts. That's cool.
With the Ace of Hearts on it, yeah. So these things, and I have another one, which was the Budokan, which is another version of this.
Get the aged one?
I didn't get the aged one. I ended up with the production model one, which has the rich light fingerboard on it, which I don't care. But I have the production Budokan. It's a beautiful guitar. The only issue with that is it doesn't have the 3-piece top, and I actually prefer it. It doesn't have the 3-piece top. It doesn't have the pancake body. It doesn't have the volute on the neck, and it doesn't have the binding on the back. You know, the binding on the back is, on the for a Les Paul custom. That Budokan, production Budokan one, is supposed to be representative of his 1974 Les Paul custom, which was obviously in Norland and had the pancake and had the volute and had all that stuff on it. And when Gibson, as is often the case, when they put out one of these signature models or commemorative models, they missed some of the prime details.
All of them.
That said, yeah, all of them. That said, it's still a beautiful guitar, and I love it.
Right. It just shouldn't be called the Budokan.
No, it shouldn't. It should just be called a
good Les Paul.
Good Les Paul with a nice top on it and banjo tuners.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I love because of the all the accoutrement with it, and they can't when Ace got kicked out of Kiss the second time, Gibson no longer had the right to use the makeup on the headstock.
I think they still made the guitar, but they didn't put his face on it.
It wasn't this. They only made this for a couple of years. You couldn't. The new ones didn't have the headstock, didn't have the lightning bolts in it. They could no longer use any of that stuff. They just basically made the Budokan. Because they made these up through, I think, 2001. And then Ace left the band or got kicked out, depending on his contract was up. And then they put the Budokan
that thing,
out.
Does it smoke? Does one?
I was just gonna say, I was wondering, what does he use, like dry ice or something for that, or?
Now he has it's a smoke bomb that he puts in the neck pickup. The neck pickup is dead on his guitars,
right?
And in there he's got a kill switch that he taps that basically lights the smoke bomb. It's a battery that heats up like a filament that sets the smoke bomb off.
That's cool.
This is and the thing that's weird about these is there's not a whole lot of dynamic to it because these are DiMarzio super distortions. The middle position is not all three pickups. The middle position is only the middle pickup and the bridge pickup. So it's got kind of a little bit of quack to it. But it's not a real dynamic guitar. You're not going to get a whole lot of jazz tones out of this. You just got to back off on the volume. But it's a beautiful guitar. I love it.
Paul,
it's not a 59.
After, let me ask you, after Ace left Kiss, did he ever take the guitar out and light it on fire and do all that kind of? Did it smoke? I mean,
right here.
Oh
yeah,
no, he still does it every night.
Do it in Frehley's Comet.
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah, he does it every night.
Although no, actually, it's not flaming, but
that's
well after, but it's not.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's just not allowed to use
No
the makeup,
flaming.
but everything else he still does the smoke guitar.
Now that's a question I had back in the day in the 70s. I know there are pictures of the guys without makeup, but did magazines publish it? Were they all underground?
No, that was sort of it was their marketing. It was always, it was a picture of them like this with their hand.
But there's got to be
that.
Some like what is it, like the Inquirer or somebody, Circus Magazine must have come up with some pictures of them without, because obviously I mean they were in and out of studios and stuff like that and all over.
My guess is Bill Aucoin probably paid a lot of people a lot of money to.
And I know after the fact, after they did reveal it, there were several pictures that came out of that era with them without makeup. But I guess that, I mean, from what I remember, they kept that hidden as much as absolutely possible.
Yeah. I have the Epiphone version of this too, and it's the same. It's essentially the same guitar with the veneer top, but it also has the DiMarzios in it and has the makeup on the headstock. Ace was the guy that made me want to play first.
So all three of the pickups in that guitar work then with your
Yes.
switch. Top is forward.
Yep.
What do you got there?
Shock me.
What's that?
Guys, I don't think to show this because your friend, who's the guy that you guys have?
Oh, yikes.
I know. It's a good thing he's not on here tonight, huh? I have 2 Kiesels.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's got the Purple Heart fretboard and these red sort of diamond inlays. This is I think they called this the Aries series. These things were only like $1,200 or something brand new. $1,200 version of a Kiesel. But this has the gold EVO fret wire, and they're really jumbo, and so I don't really like them because when I'm blasting through chords, sometimes the tall frets kind of slow me down a little bit. But yeah, it's the EVO gold fret wire on this thing, and I don't know what do you guys think? Do the red diamond dots, do they look good on that Purple Heart that?
They definitely pop. They look cool.
I don't know how much I like it. Anyhow, Kiesel set you.
Nice.
Thanks, brother.
Fruitcake Tony, I don't have a beak neck from Musicraft to show. I don't have anything like that. I can order it, but I don't have any here. I did bring out the man. I can't talk. It's getting so late at night. I did bring out the Frankenstein for you to see, though.
Yeah. Look at this. Everybody left.
I didn't left.
Everybody's gone. It's like a security camera every few seconds. Oh, hello. You can jump in. What's your name?
His name is Neil.
My name's Neil.
Hey, Neil. How you doing? There we go. Sorry.
Good.
Good to meet you.
Nice meeting you guys.
What do you do? Do you play?
Oh no. I'm learning.
That's cool. What kind of music do you like? What do you listen to?
I like a lot. I'm a big Bo Diddley fan. I love.
Oh,
yeah.
Right on.
Dick Dale's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I like all the usual stuff, Page, Gilmore, everybody seems to be talked a lot about. I like St. Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's different. That's pretty cool.
Hey, David, I broke out the Budokan so you could see what Gibson got wrong.
Cool.
So there's the top, and it's supposed to be a 3-piece top.
Yep, that's 2 pieces.
Yep, it's supposed to be a 3-piece top. It's supposed to have binding on the back.
Ouch.
Supposed to be a pancake. Supposed to have the volute.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it has the banjo tuners, though.
Yes, it does have the banjo tuners. That part they got right.
Everybody's like, hey, Neil.
Those
got
are
the
cool.
banjo.
Neil Reed Smith.
But this was during the dark period, the brief dark period where the fretboard is not ebony.
2011, 12, 13.
Yep. So this has the rich light fretboard, which, by the way, it doesn't bother me at all to have that. It plays as well as ebony. It's just not ebony.
The rich little fretboard.
Yeah, the rich little fretboard. That is crazy stuff. So, but it's a good Les Paul custom, but it's not what it's supposed to be.
Match it tonight. Kind of the same color scheme.
There you go.
Let's crack one for the beginning of the season.
The Rocktoberfest?
Rocktoberfest, yeah. Passes the test. It's good stuff.
Uh-huh.
Although my favorite is Harpoon. Winter Warmer is one of the best. I don't know if you guys get that out in the West. Winter Warmer, Harpoon.
We get warmer.
Johnny doesn't drink beer, so I don't know.
I have no idea.
I said we get warmer summer out here. That's what we get.
Well, you have a warm winter too.
Yeah, it's a beer called Warmer Summer. Okay, we were talking earlier about can you take a guitar? So I got a Charvel here. And is it okay to actually paint a guitar to look like the Warren DeMartini guitar?
Of course it is.
I'm sure it is. I mean, I don't. First of all, it's not his design. I mean, someone made that for him.
Right. Now, the same guy that paints guitars for me, I'm like, dude, do me a Warren DeMartini. And so he used some sort of a paint technique where he let Elmer's glue run down this. So the guitar was, let me think how he did this. The guitar initially started red.
Yeah.
And he put Elmer's glue and he just let it run down. And then he painted the guitar black. And then he scrubbed all the glue off of it.
Wow.
And it ended up like this. That seems like a lot of work, doesn't it?
And what's the skull? Is that a decal or is that
It
painted
is a decal that he printed off, but he cleared over it. And he
fits perfect. Looks cool.
He did a pretty nice job. You can see some little bumps and stuff on it. If I get it in the right light, you can probably see some of that.
Gary Tholander wants to know how much that guitar is.
Man, this is kind of my own personal stash right here.
Oh.
When am I ever going to find another one of these?
How much is it tonight? What's tonight's price?
Tonight it is $30.
Oh, but you got to beat Neil to it.
Sit down, Neil.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Oh, but it's not left-handed.
$30.
I don't know. I have some guitars that I don't.
Neil special.
But this is from the Round and Round video when he fell down through the ceiling and landed on the coffee table and pushed all his stuff off. And yeah, this is the shit right here. But this is not a Charvel body. The body started off as a Series 10. You guys know that brand, right?
My very first guitar was a Series 10. My very first guitar, and I traded it for that Squire Bullet that I have now.
And I came across this neck, and now you see on the neck, it has a headstock injury, which is sort of weird and kind of rare. But you know what? For a little
Jackson
guitar,
tuners?
for a little guitar that I had painted, but it's got a lot of dirt and dust on it. But just for a fun little guitar, and you know what?
Strung reverse.
I've taken this to the blues jam. On a Sunday night, I always go and do the blues jam. And I'll sit and play blues on this. And guys think that I'm just crazy. But this is the kind of stuff I'll take to a blues jam when I go and jam with the guys.
Dane does have an inordinate amount of pointy guitars.
Do you have it strung reverse through the tuners?
No.
Looks like. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what I was. Yeah. All right. Now that makes sense.
It's not inverted or anything.
No, that makes. Yeah.
It's got a nice little chip off the end here, too. So I can't sell this guitar because it's not what it says it is. It's not what it says it is. This is another fun little. See, I have a little personal stash of colorful guitars behind the counter here that I don't really sell. But this is a little Jackson that I had painted, and it turned out kind of fun. The knobs aren't so great on here. Probably should change those to something, but I found some Jackson pickups. And yeah, in my spare time, I put stuff together. There's some, there's those, unfortunately, those people in the world that get stuff and they take it apart and it never gets put back together. And you look in their collection of guitars and they have 30 guitars, but they're all projects. I'm the opposite of that. I'm going to take something and try to make it better, and financially it's probably not your best plan because I put another $100 into it for this or whatever, but
someone's going to come in and say, oh, it's not stock.
What's the Nesdal price on that one tonight?
The Neil price on this guitar tonight is $35.
That's right, Aaron's songs. Here we go again.
Bringing back the canned laughter.
I'll just keep showing you guys guitars if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Look at that one.
Are you guys crazy?
Look at that.
Okay.
What is that?
So
It looks like a large Chiquita.
We all know our friend Philip McKnight because he's a YouTuber. I don't know if you guys watch his channel, but he's a neighbor of ours, and he lives right down the street.
I think I met him one time for lunch.
Did you?
Yeah. Last time I was in Phoenix.
He's very successful at being a YouTuber, and he used to have a store. But back, he had a store for about 12 years, but he imported some guitars, and he mostly did bass guitars. But so once in a while, you'll see a McKnight guitar floating around out here in Phoenix. And this is one that I happened upon. This was at a Sam Ash on the west side. Oh, and I told Neil, I'm like, Neil, next time you're out on the west side, get that McKnight it's a little short scale thing.
It's like the reverse version of a Dean Cadillac.
They were asking $100 for it. Yeah, it kind of looks like a Dean Cadillac.
Reverse Dean Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took a long time polishing the frets and getting all these fret ends real nice and smooth and rounding them. And we got this guitar out of a Sam Ash. And McKnight is always, with know your gear and, hey, let's change the pickups out and sharpen my axe and all the stuff that he does. Somebody was doing that to this guitar because I bought it from, we bought it from Sam Ash, brought it here to the shop, plugged it in. It did not work. Both the pickups were completely dead. So Sam Ash sold the guitar with completely dead pickups.
I'd have brought it back.
Well,
did they sell it as an acoustic?
Yeah, I guess so. But I thought it was kind of fun, and I'm a McKnight fanboy, so I bought the guitar to have some fun and to make it. I put old pickups in it, whatever. I don't know what they are, but just a fun little project of taking something and shining it up and making the frets nice. And
sounds fantastic.
Doesn't it? Yeah. So there you go, guys. Let's talk that together. Make it better.
Bolt-on neck or?
Yeah. Made in China. Well, I don't know where you imported them from, but I'm gonna imagine it's probably China.
That looks like it came out of my first guitar kit.
Hey, Neil.
Hey.
Hey, here we go.
There you go.
Let's just do that.
Crotch shot.
Is that Larry?
Neil, you're out of pedal. Let's talk about the pedal you brought down here.
Beautiful.
I thought that was Larry David sitting next to you.
A little bit.
He does. He gets out a lot, Larry David.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, too, yeah. Cool, nice.
Was that the stir? The stir port?
The Stir Transporter SR.
I'm trying to help him, and I'm
Disaster Transport SR, yeah.
Dual delay with reverb. I brought it in to trade.
nice.
Uh huh. And you have to
For-
sit. Through,
for
you have
what?
to sit. You have to sit through the show until he'll
Yeah.
do it to you.
What do you
I'll
want?
deal with you after. I'm doing a show.
What do you want to trade for?
I'm live.
I know. Hold on. Get opinions.
I got a fake Warren D. Martini. I'll trade you.
Hey G, real quick. Hey G, no worries, man. I'm getting your text messages. I Sam. All good, dude.
Couple packs of strings, maybe.
Here. So, Dane, I'll trade you the Dispatch Master
Okay.
for these two.
It's a Yankee swap is what's going on
2
here.
for 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, how much they go for?
Well, I mean, that's the
Small
Discus
stone
man.
for $60.
That's an expensive
I
pedal.
don't know what the small stone
Okay,
is.
well, let's ask the audience. Should I make this trade? How much
For,
are these?
for Neil?
Dude, there's like $300.
They're like 300
Yeah,
bucks.
that's an expensive pedal. That delay pedal.
What the hell you want to do this trade for?
But it's for him.
I ain't using a.
I
I'm
think
not
he's
using-
just trying to have some fun with you guys.
He's like, this pedal, you step on it, it's a disaster, man.
There's
It's a
too many
disaster when I
knobs.
use it.
There's way too many knobs.
Too
on
many
it.
knobs. Yeah, you gotta go by the, what are those other pedals? Single knobs?
It's one knob.
It's like one knob.
Yeah, it's not in the price of
There
knobs
aren't
has
enough, there aren't
gone up.
enough knobs. Yeah, the knob exchange rate is.
That's true.
Small
It's bad.
chrome and a small stone, and they
Oh,
rhyme.
wow.
with each other.
But how about buttons? There's buttons and inputs.
There's a switch.
Ooh.
Well, that ups that ups it a little bit. The color too. I mean, there's no color on the other one.
You know what? He comes in here all the time wanting to do trades like this, and I'm like, no, I can't do that trade, dude. And Neanderthal, he's the same way. Neanderthal comes in here once in a while, and he's like, man, I'm in a really good mood. I got tons of money in my pocket. Trade. Oh, let's trade this guitar in. You're old Peavy. He almost traded a Peavy in and Wolfgang, and I'm like, Paul, I can't let you do that, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't want to trade that.
Well, I don't now.
The Gonculator.
Is that an old
Oh,
DOD?
man.
What is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's an old. Is it
Oh.
a vintage?
Can you guys plug that in?
Yeah, we can plug it in.
I got to hear that thing, man.
What's it called? The Gonculator?
Yeah,
Basically,
it's a ring modulator.
it's a ring modulator. That's it.
Hmm.
It's a ring.
Yeah, let's hear that. Plug that in.
It's a ring modulator with distortion.
Oh,
I think
holy
it's
crap.
I think it's a ring modulator with the grunge pedal.
Oh, so it's a. Is it a? What year is that?
This is a reissue. So
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a newer
I was
pedal.
gonna say
it's a
because
newer
DOD
one.
didn't have that style since the 70s, right?
Eesh.
Yeah. I've
And
got
then
I've got a DOD compressor that looks just like that pedal. Same.
Yeah.
An original one. Yeah.
I'm going to set this amp.
I got to hear this. I finally
You
just got
run it through that
excited.
Fender you got thing right behind you that's plugged in.
For the first time tonight, I just
Okay, plug this into there. Where it says input.
Input.
Really? Did you just explain that to him?
You need
Need a battery?
No,
I don't think
I'm a
you
guitar
use
shop. I
batteries.
should have a power cable here
yeah.
somewhere.
Here's a power cable.
The beautiful part about it is at some point the Mesa police are going to come knocking on his door because the lights are.
No,
lights
the
are on at
the
11:45.
woman
lady.
next door,
the lady next door is gonna wake up.
Yeah.
Korean woman, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Who's
That's right,
Filipino?
Soda. That's right, Soda.
All right, buddy, turn the amp on.
I can't hear it.
No bar chords though.
Hold on.
Yeah, gotta play single notes when you use that pedal.
You got to play like the sloppiest solo you know and through that thing.
That's everything Dane can play.
Hey now. Okay, try to do this if you can. Hold that up so
Yeah.
they can see where you got it down.
You want to sound like
Play something real
like
quick.
the Melvins. Yeah, now adjust some of the parameters on it.
All right.
I don't think it's on.
Everything's at new.
Uh-oh.
Something's cutting out.
What the
That's part of the effect.
There you go.
It's got Johnny Beane's name written all over it.
It needs more gonk.
heck?
Turn the gonk up.
This
I think that chord.
this gunk goes to 11.
Personally, I think it needs more geefel.
Gunk.
Geefel?
Hold on, Bing. Look at that.
Oh.
We're trying a different chord. I think that one was kind of messed up.
Uh-huh.
Try
What
the
did the
G
police
chord.
get in there?
Yeah, the police are going to be there in a second.
Where's the nearest
Where's-
Taco Bell?
That's about a mile up the street.
There you go.
Not as-
There you go.
I hear the gonk now.
Gonk that. Gonk it. Turn the rate all the way up.
It's a bit too much gunk, if you ask me.
Yeah, turn that one down. Turn.
It's a bit
There
too
you go,
much
yeah.
fucking
Oh.
gunk.
Cops will be there anytime. Like, what's going on in there? Are you guys gonking?
At this point, I'd like to ask a question. Are we going to play Stonehenge tomorrow night?
Nesdell just gave up.
Can we tap out?
That's a cool pedal. I like that.
Yeah. I think it's awesome, man.
That's enough gunk for tonight.
It's a gonky, man.
Okay, hold on. We
They
have
need,
another portable pedal.
Gonk rock.
Rob Gronkowski to advertise for that. The,
Oh, what's-
the Gronkulator.
What is that? Is that a Zvex?
Oop, hold on, I gotta make sure I got the right one here.
Yeah, now there's pedals, in my opinion, that are horrible pedals.
And that wasn't one of them?
Feedbacks is what I would call a horrible pedal. Did you turn the amp off?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't forget to do that. What is that? Mastutron?
Mastotron.
sharing songs. That is a 24-hour music store. I like that one too.
Is it like a Mutron?
It's got the dying battery tone.
It's a
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't hear a whole hell of a lot going on there.
where it has that decay that kind of kills your note.
It's all in the fingers, dude.
Cops are incoming. I think that sounds cool right there. Yeah, play a chord. Play a chord with that one. Play a chord. They can't hear me. That's like so loud over there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Play a chord real quick.
Play a chord.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Nobody likes the big one. The small one, okay.
That chord almost sounded like the beginning of Get Up, didn't it?
I was gonna say it almost sounded like the beginning of what's off Women and Children First. What's the
Oh yeah.
Fools? Brandon.
I dig that, man.
It's coming unglued. That's what the tone to me. The sound to me is just that it's.
By the way, Johnny, the song you were looking for was Fools.
The beginning of Fools.
Yeah.
That's right.
One more.
Yeah.
One more that
Yeah,
I
just
really
sounds like you fell down a flight of steps holding a guitar.
the MXR.
Oh,
Blue
dude.
Box.
I know that pedal, man.
Don't
The
like
blue
it.
box. You don't like it?
Is it a compressor?
No,
No.
it's an octave fuzz,
No.
Yeah.
and it just it's from the Led Zeppelin song "Fool in the Rain."
Oh, yeah.
Man. You really have to crank though. Those pedals. Oh yeah. It gives you like the old Atari 2600 tone.
Yeah, it sounds like 8-bit.
It's like a bit crusher.
Yeah,
Play Pitfall.
Or Pac-Man.
Play Super Mario. You know that da-da-da-da-da.
that was Super Mario right there. You guys didn't recognize it? Half the time I play this for customers and they think the thing is broken. They're like, I think the pedal is broken.
I don't think that's right.
It's not the pedal. Oh.
Anyhow.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Three horrible pedals.
And Neil, what's that camera on your shirt? That's an old
Instamatic.
Yeah, it's a large
Like
format.
Kodak.
Yeah, it's a large format. I used to have a Gray Flex.
Bellows.
Yep, bellows. And unfortunately, it just got really hard to do film to get the film developed. So
Sure. Yeah.
do
Well,
away
you
with
get it on your shirt a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Those are cool pedals. Thanks, man. Those are definitely cool.
One of the cool things about Dane's shop is A, you can find a lot of old pointy guitars and stuff. And B, his pedal selection is kind of neat. I've been there when people have just brought in big cardboard boxes, just huge boxes with piles of pedals. And they're like, how much you give me for it? And Dan's like, I'll give you 150 bucks. And the guy's like,
All right.
Are you sure?
That's the best you can do.
Yeah,
Don't
that's the best I can do. 150 bucks.
Don't exaggerate.
All right,
I offer
125.
And it's all blue boxes.
No, they're all Behringer
they're all actually
and
broken.
Donner.
The next time you're in your car and you hear "Fool in the Rain" by Zeppelin, you'll be like, "There's
Oh yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah, you nailed it.
one spot in that."
I knew he used like an octave or something to.
Yeah.
That's the
There's
exact
one
that's the
spot.
exact pedal that he used right there.
Yeah.
That's the exact one.
It's
Oh,
got
it
the
is.
script, MXR script on it.
Mhm.
What are the settings? You got it must be a volume and
One little tiny spot that sounds perfect, and then anywhere else on it, it's not good.
You know what's funny is everything has come full circle too. Like we went from everybody having 9,000 pedals to the rack mount, MP1s and the RP 500s, the all-in-one things, and all of a sudden everybody realized, yeah, older analog pedals do sound better.
yeah.
Especially constantly.
Look
There
at
you
you.
go.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice job, David. Nice job. His pedalboard. There's a rig rundown.
Oh, and you got the distortion there from the same company. What's
It's called a Distortron.
Distortron?
Yes.
A script
Now, is that what
script
you bring
phase
out
90.
live?
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your live rig, David?
Yeah, one of them. Mm-hmm.
Is that a mic stand
Yep.
jack? That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And these are this right here. This is the on-off switches for all the pedals, so you don't have to keep
Right.
stepping on the pedals.
Did you make that yourself or wire that up?
No,
yourself?
this is a buddy of mine made this for me.
Nice.
A buddy of mine makes these pedal boards. This is my small board, actually.
Well, it's cold.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I guess since we're showing pedal boards.
Mad Dog.
It's heavy. This is heavy duty stuff.
Tell Mad Dog you got a left hand. I'll show him a left hand.
Hang on.
I always wonder about that, like stomp boxes. If you really hit those switches, how much abuse they can take.
They break.
Oh, the Sans amp.
Yeah, this is a
That is
ghetto.
something
It's a
for my
pretty
bass.
ghetto pedal board, but it's we got the Behringers and the Joyos and
Yes,
MXRs,
one.
but they're it works. It sounds good. It does. It certainly meets my needs.
I say the same thing I tell people when they, and we've talked about this. David and I think have talked about this before. Is you put the record on if you're recording or whatever like that. Tell me the difference between an Epiphone
There you go,
and a
Mad
Gibson
Dog.
Les Paul. The same thing would tell me what pedal you used. As long as it sounds good, who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's your lefty telly. The Neil price on that is high.
Is that a Fender?
Yeah.
American?
Mexico.
Mexico?
No, it's made in
No, it's
Mexico.
not. It's not American.
That's the
Yeah,
Mexico.
it's a made in Mexico. It's got Seymour Duncan Alnico 2 Pros. It also has a vitamin Q capacitor, paper oil capacitor in it.
Ah.
Still nice.
I have the right-handed version of that, somewhat.
I was gonna say I think your camera's backwards there.
Right on.
Hey, Michael Smith.
Aaron Songs wants to know what the
Captain.
rainbow pedal was that I had. It's a
It's the chewing gum with the horse on it.
it's a Dr. Scientist Tremolescence. Probably the best tremolo pedal you'll ever hear.
You basically set the rate on that thing like a Leslie.
No, I have it set for slow because I have the Lex, the Strymon Lex, which is the Leslie.
Right.
But I have the tremolescent set on slow tremolo for ballads.
This is a ballad that I wrote.
Yeah.
I feel you, Dave.
So fucking sorry.
3 o'clock here in the east.
You guys, I mean, it's got to be tough for you guys to do this every Saturday night at midnight.
And we don't even get paid
until
for
3 a.m. Oh, you guys get paid?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well,
we get paid in love.
Good for you.
one of us gets paid.
Yeah.
Happy to do it. I'm happy to do it every week. Absolutely. And that's not a lie. That's the truth.
I'm just glad to have made the acquaintance of some cool people that I've been watching for the better part of a year or so. It's a and it's weird because every night it seems like there's a new show you guys are doing different things. I mean, the other night I caught the 80s chat with Mancuda, and that guy's out of his mind. Which is great. You know, I mean, it's a nice variety. Look, there's a lot of junk on YouTube and a lot of junk on the internet. You know, the internet is at both the greatest and worst thing ever invented. It gives everybody a voice, but most people have nothing to say. You guys have it's a fun channel, and it's always fun to come hang. So I appreciate, you guys making space on Saturday nights for me. I appreciate coming in.
Thank you, Johnny Beane.
Nice.
We all just, we all have the same interests. What's the dupla color? And Dave said Wimbledon white last night, and I didn't even have to ask. So I'm going to buy some Wimbledon white this week and hopefully get that going.
It didn't take long either when I first started. Nice.
It smells like chocolate.
Does it?
Yeah.
No, I have that. I told you I have that American Original 50 Strat. It smells like bubblegum. It's got the nitro finish and smells like bubblegum.
Smells like chocolate.
But like within hours of sort of sending something to Dave randomly, we're talking as if we knew each other for years. It's that's nice. That's a good thing about social media and the internet and all this stuff here is that you can connect with people from all over the country who have their like-minded individuals.
Well, yeah, and we want to talk about it too. Dave wants to talk. I mean, I'm sure Dave loves to talk about it, just like we all do. Any kind of knowledge we can share, or even learn as well.
Yeah.
And it's fun, I mean, it beats. It's cheap. Doesn't cost us to go drinking. Nobody's getting arrested, as far as you know.
That's
I
right.
think the cops are going to be here in a minute.
I actually do. I'm surprised they haven't knocked on your window yet. Your lights are never on this late.
Not with that party going on next door, though. There's like a quinceanera or a wedding.
Oh yeah, the quinceanera. How's that
It
going?
is. It's a quinceanera, I think. Uh-huh.
Happy birthday, Caleb.
Is it Caleb's birthday?
Today's Caleb's birthday.
Happy birthday, Caleb. I hope you're having a great day.
How many
Soda.
Steinbergers you own, David?
Just one.
Just one?
Soda's in the comments saying, Zim, do you sell online? And I sold a guitar on Reverb, but I don't like to do it very often. It's a hassle, and they charge tax, and you got to ship it. And so, no, I'm sorry, I don't do that. Maybe one of these days, if I get serious, I'll start doing that. But right now, I'm just trying to have some fun and have a little guitar shop and not get too over the top with it.
By the way, David, don't be shocked, but that Ripley is still for sale.
Which one?
The one that's here in town for $3,500.
Oh, yeah, it'll be for sale forever because it's the wrong price.
Yeah, right, and he doesn't really want to sell it, which is why. Watch why he's like the guy that puts the for sale sign on the front of the house but doesn't get the offer he wants ever. He just wants the attention.
Yeah.
Throw
I mean,
something at the wall, see if it sticks.
Ripley's are kind of cool. They're cool guitars, but I mean, I owned one for quite a while, and I used it 2 or 3 times. It's just not. It's not something that it's. I don't know.
It's a cool niche, but it's something you're not going to use unless you're recording in a professional studio, or you can't really use it live to the full effect.
And even then, in a professional studio now with digital recording, you can just pan everything in the mix.
Yeah.
So it sort of defeats the purpose.
For the time that it came out, it was an innovation. It's a cool concept, but time and a place, it's not necessarily something you could use today.
I had a David, you're playing your Steinberger. I had a Kramer Duke bass.
I know them very well.
I couldn't kick it wouldn't stay in tune here in Arizona
because that neck keeps moving.
Yep, and it's aluminum, and the temperature.
Yep.
Yeah, the temperature changes
Second it
here
gets hot.
in Arizona. Yeah.
What was the story with Kramer's aluminum period?
It was the worst invention on the planet.
Did they take that from what was it? Who came up with that concept?
Travis
first?
Beane.
Travis Beane. That's right. Yeah.
I think Travis Beane.
And then Kramer took it, and Kramer like on Ed's double neck. It doesn't even have a T in it. It's just like two side things, right, coming off. And then,
because the T is Travis Beane
fork.
Right.
Yeah. But the neck on those things always look like a tuning fork, and the fingerboard on those was the material that they used to make bowling balls out of. It's called ebonol.
There you go.
Basically, an epoxy, a composite that that they basically layered onto it, kind of like Richlight, only it's not real paper. It's plastic. It's goo that they just put on there until it hardened. There you go. Dan got his old aluminum Kramer.
I always wanted to try one of those. They're obviously cool looking and an interesting design, but are they sustainable?
Like
do they hold up?
Cool.
Yeah, Gene Simmons was his probably the most well-known one as well. Who else? Was it? Oh no, he used the Travis Beane, the Aerosmith.
Yeah,
Emmett might have played him for a while too.
I was gonna say Travis Beane. Michael Smith, dude.
That's your brother, right, Johnny?
Michael Smith.
I wish I was related to Travis Beane, but I'm not. We spell our last names a little different though too.
He can't afford the E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't get rid of it.
The E is elegance.
Drop the last E for savings.
E is for elegance. That's how you know you're hoity-toity, because you've got the E.
Renus Pinkel asks, tell us what made the Ripley unique, Dave?
It had a separate pan pot for each string, which you could pan hard right, hard left, or anywhere in between. It's best used with either two amplifiers, or in the studio you can use two channels and get true stereo. And it's more of a ping pong stereo, because like your high E string could be hard right, B string hard left, G hard right, blah blah blah, all the way down the line. And it's cool, but how many times are you going to do that?
Yeah, it's essentially a Beretta, a stereo Beretta.
Yeah.
Johnny has one of those.
I do, and I used to record with it all the time. I've got tons of demos.
Drop Dead Legs, is that the song that?
No,
Top Jimmy. That
Top Jimmy.
Top Jimmy Cooks.
Yeah, Top Jimmy, and then
listen to that with headphones, and you can really hear it.
Last week, you guys
crossing over
a lot about the Diver Down album, and that is one of my favorite Van Halen albums.
Yeah, it's a badass record.
It's one of all of our favorites, absolutely.
Yeah, I got nothing bad to say about that one.
I'm not a fan of I know Ed's sound is great, but and I've said it before, you can't hear Mike, and it's kind of I was listening to it the other day in my car, and it went from 80, I think it was or 84 or one of the other albums to Diver Down, and the level, you got to turn it up, because it doesn't have the punch that the other ones do. I don't know.
That's
whether
it
was
mastered at a certain level. maybe wasn't recorded at that
Right.
time, when
Yeah.
they mastered it, it gets violent.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Alex's sound and Ed's sound was amazing on that, but Mike was buried, and I don't necessarily. I mean, I know everyone. Caleb is a big fan of it, but it's and absolutely, I love the album. The album's got some of the best Van Halen songs, and like I said, that era, Ed was into it at that time, but after 82 and into 83 and 84, Ed kind of disowned that. And Ed was on the record of saying it wasn't his favorite album. But the songs are amazing. The songs are some of the greatest Van Halen songs. But as far as I'm concerned, the mix isn't as good. The tones and the sound of the guitar and the snare sounds awesome. But Mike and some of the other stuff is buried. But again, great album. And I'll shut up now.
I went to I went to the US Festival in 1983. And
There we go.
There, yeah. And I remember, so I rode out there, and so I don't know how old I was, but I was.
Let's hear the whole story, man.
Okay, here's the.
I know it's getting late, but I'm up for that.
Me and my little brother, he had a Toyota pickup truck, and then we took one other friend with us. I had to ride in the back of the pickup truck, but there was a camper shell over it. And the only reason that turned out good is because when the show let out, I just got in the back of the truck and I fell asleep. And they had to drive all the way back from San Bernardino back to Phoenix. So they were like, well, getting out of that show took us like 3 hours to get out of there. And I don't know. So I didn't have to. I slept through that. I remember Van Halen being very sloppy. I was sort of upset with their performance. And I remember seeing Eddie looking at Dave and just going, come on, Dave.
Oh, really?
Like coaxing him on to like stop.
That's kind of the legacy of that show is
Yeah,
that, they were sloppy.
Yeah, stop screwing up.
And that's why we haven't gotten an official release from that, because I as far as I know, Ed probably has some of the master tapes from that as well as historic films, but because of the fact that they were in sloppy form, I don't think we'll ever see a professional release of that. Maybe a couple of the Showtime highlights and stuff like that. But
they being David Lee.
Rights to it.
Well, I agree, Dave. Yeah, you're right.
But truth be told, it wasn't Eddie's best gig either.
Yeah.
Eddie sucked on that show. For Eddie, I mean, it's great.
And he was having technical problems. It was kind of a one-off, to be honest. They came off the South American tour, and what was that? Maybe 15 dates in South America. The '83 era was, and it was all, hype. Them building up to the. I think they had a contract where they couldn't play any North American dates. They played South America. They couldn't play any North American dates except for the US Festival in 1983, and that was Wozniak's deal with them, and that's why they got paid the exorbitant amount of in the Guinness Book of World Records for the US Festival.
Was it $1,001,000 or something like that?
Yeah, it was the highest paid at that point for a live act.
1.7 is what I was told, because they had the $200,000 acceleration clause in their contract that they were to be paid $200,000 more than the highest paid artist.
Who was David Bowie?
Yeah, when Wozniak signed Bowie for $1.5 million, that immediately kicked into $1.7 million. That's the story I was told.
Mm-hmm.
So and speaking of
$200,000 clause,
Eddie Money played the US Festival, but I think he played US '82. Did they have that festival 2 years in a row?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie
The Police also played it in '82.
Yeah.
No, I mean the list of bands that played in '83, they were not. So many of those bands were below the radar. U2 being one of them.
Quarter Flash.
Yeah, if you go back and look at some of the bands that played that, and then what they went on to do 3 or 4 years later, I mean, it was pretty a phenomenal thing to be part of. And I remember that US was supposed to stand for unselfish. It was supposed to be their idea that greed in the '80s was not a real thing, and that they could be unselfish and put together the.
Well, wasn't that the
Woodstock thing.
yuppie era? The kind of the era of the
New wave.
the yuppie guy, people who were, and it was rebelling against them. It's freaking late.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to stand for unselfish, which is why there was like rainbows and shit in the ground.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I
the day I
interviewed
went
for.
to show, I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, I was going to say I
The
interviewed
day I
for
went-
the.
I did it again.
Go ahead, go.
Shush.
Okay, the day I went, the show opened with Quiet Riot at noon. And there was dudes walking around with T-shirts that said "Bang Your Head," and I had no idea what this whole "Bang Your Head" thing was all about. And
I think that was my first metal album ever. I mean, I may have had like 3 other albums besides it was Huey Lewis, Quiet Riot, and I think probably Prince or Bruce Springsteen. But yeah, Quiet Riot. I remember that Metal Health was giant at that time.
And these kids wearing "Bang Your Head" T-shirts. I didn't know what that was all about. The second band was Motley Crue, and the only thing, and I liked Motley Crue. They played Helter Skelter. So the only thing I knew from Motley Crue was, hey, they did a Beatles tune. How cool is that? You know?
Good night, Caleb.
And then the third band,
Happy birthday, Caleb. Happy birthday and good night.
Happy birthday.
the third band was Ozzy. Ozzy went on third.
You sure it wasn't Triumph?
No, Triumph was Ozzy, Triumph, and Scorpions.
Right.
I think after, or Judas Priest as well. Priest came after Ozzy, I believe.
So Triumph was third on the bill behind Van Halen and Scorpions, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, they had a good
Only
spot.
because Oz was a huge fan of Triumph, and they didn't fit on that bill very well.
Well, that was the Never Surrender record, which was.
But it was a
hard
great
rockin'
show.
record.
That's a great, and you can get the full set from them on DVD, which is really.
Yeah, they released that as an album DVD set.
Yeah, Triumph was a great set. No matter if it fit or not, they were awesome.
Underrated band.
Then when it finally got dark out, 7:30 at night or whatever time it was, that's when the Scorpions hit the stage, and the big teleprompters or the big TV screens or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
And so the Scorpions stole the show. The Blackout album was hot. I don't know if
Now, I've heard they were a mess as well, and that's why they never released anything. But I haven't seen much footage from the Scorpions, maybe 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah, it was good times. And then we had to wait such a long time for Van Halen to come on. But they had on those big screens, they had the backstage area going where
which was pre-recorded, I think.
It is, and you can still watch that, the pre-recorded backstage.
Oh, really? They had that on the screens there?
Yeah, they played that on the screen, so we're waiting for Van Halen to come on.
Cool.
At least we had a little movie to watch, and they had pinball machines back there, and Dave, they opened up a curtain, and Dave
with the sheep, they were in there in the backstage room with the sheep and walking around, and Alex and Mike are playing video games.
Yeah, I don't remember a sheep, but I remember Dave.
Want me to get the clip?
Had to stand up and pull his pants up and everything, and so we're all out in the audience going, okay, man, we've been waiting like an hour and 15 minutes for you guys to come on, but Dave's in the back getting laid, and so just go hit the stage and let's hear Jamie's crying or something, you know.
Right.
On that note, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm exhausted.
Dave, thank you. Good night, man. Have a good week.
See you all.
See you, Dave.
Bye, Dave. Nice meeting you.
Same here.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, see you later, Johnny. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too, man.
All right. Good to meet you.
If you if you go to my my YouTube channel, I made a kind of a video with all that audio of the announcers. Well, it starts with the. I may as well find it. Starts with the backstage stuff that was apparently filmed months before. Then it goes to the announcers talking about it, and
well, you know, they were so well known for the false intros and. You know, obviously the skydiving stunt and all the stuff that kind of went in.
Mm-hmm.
Credit where credit is due. There was a lot of P.T. Barnum, whether or not whether that's Noel Monk or Dave or you know, Angelus or whatever. You know, they figured out how to bring the fake big show. There's a lot of pro wrestling in Van Halen in the early 80s.
Yeah, and they were such a party band that everyone wanted to party with them. And so to show that big old backstage fiasco that they were having, it kind of felt like, hey, man, we're backstage party with Van Halen.
OU812 A1 Gaming is not better than Diver Down. OU812 is one of 2 albums in the Van Halen catalog that doesn't really hold up because of those Simmons drums. The Simmons drums, and to be honest with you, a lot of OU812 that got known, like things like Feels So Good, to me that was when Sammy started to bring some of that cheesy, ballady stuff into that I think really slowed down a lot of records. Diver Down was just basically a band having fun and fulfilling a contractual obligation. Not the most creative record because of so many covers on it, but the covers that they took, they made their own.
That's right.
And gave you a look. If you're going to do a cover, you have 2 choices. You can do it exactly the way the song was done and be true to the cover, or you can give it your flavor. And that's one of the things that Van Halen and even Metallica have been able to do, is they can take a song, and even if they play it as close to the original as they can, because they're so singular and unique with their style and their tone, it becomes theirs, which I think is the mark of a great band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because their second album, You're No Good, on the second album, I didn't realize that was Linda Ronstadt song for a long time. And then I heard Linda
was Down
Ronstadt.
in Flames.
What? Yeah.
Hey, what's going on Memorial Day weekend? What have you been trying to have heard of the S Festival 3 great days? Memorial Day weekend at Glen Helen Park, San Bernardino, Greengrass, beautiful mountains. It's the music event of the 80s and more. Crazy about New Wave, Saturday, May 28th. Class Men at Work, Stray Cats, the Flock of Seagulls, the English Beat, Unga Bunga, Roll the Voodoo, and Excess the Vinyl. They're live on the largest stage ever. Into heavy metal, Sunday, May 29th, Van Halen.
Oh yeah, that's that real. That got the
John
cover
Machida.
fast. Yeah.
How about the show? Monday, May 30th, proceeding in Strong Food, pretending to listen to the decision and the disciples of soul and more. More dying video, more lights, more laces, more spectacle, more camping, more parking.
John Machida really young.
It's now the S Festival, more than a concert. Now that's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, man, are we on? Can you see me out there?
Oh.
See me? Hoo-yah! All right, you can hear
Oh.
Oh, John, you're muted.
That
Yeah.
just makes me love the 80s.
I muted them because we can't play that on here.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'll get busted. Like whoever has that video, they can have this whole video taken down for that being on here.
My mic is muted.
All
That
right, there you
makes
go.
me love the 80s so much. Seeing that.
Well, there's the video anyway of what's his name. What did he call himself? He's
That
a DJ.
guy?
Yeah.
Mark. Mark
is it-
Goodman.
No.
Is it MTV? Mark
Para?
Goodman,
No, Para. What's
or-
his
Yeah,
name?
Paris Squad or something like that.
Paraquat
Paracles.
Kelly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he
Paraquat
said so.
Kelly. Paraquat was an
Paraquat.
hallucinogen drug that they sprayed over the pot fields in California. So he was Paraquat Kelly. It was his name. And because KLOS was the sponsoring station for the US Festival. And I remember I was going to tell the story a little earlier. I interviewed for the program director job there a few years back when this would have been 2012, because I was looking to do the 30th anniversary of the US Festival. To do, like I told them, one of the ideas that I had for the job was if I got the job that summer at Glen Helen, we should do a newer version of the US Festival, US Festival commemoration concert.
No, I'm
And,
not. I do want to say hi to Paul.
And it was going to be great, except for they didn't want to pay me to do the job. So I stayed here in Phoenix. And it was funny because one of the sales managers, one of the people that was sitting there, he was sitting there around the table
Yeah, I saw him.
with us, looked at me and like made that dog face, like he'd never heard of the US Festival,
Mm-hmm.
which shows that we're kind of old.
Hey Neil.
Hey,
Well, honestly, what's the legacy of the US Festival? Isn't it Van Halen, pretty much?
That and the fact that it was a colossal failure financially.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a colossal failure. They lost millions of dollars.
Wozniak. Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
look,
I don't think he lost. I think he broke even. From what I've read, I think he broke even more or less. He didn't make any money off of it, but I don't think he lost too much.
it was the first example of trying to put together a festival. So far, there hasn't been a festival show or tour that has been able to recapture what they did in the original Woodstock. As much as, you know, we can talk about how Woodstock.
The original Woodstock wasn't successful in any way,
right,
except for the film.
This goes back to what I was saying earlier about Pantera. The legend exceeds the reality. The legend of Woodstock is that it was this amazing moment. Yeah, it was an amazing moment unless you were somebody involved in the business of Woodstock. Then everything was, the gates were crashed, people were passing out on drugs. It was, I mean, it was the
The
worst
first
of human
successful
behavior.
festival was the California Jam, as far as I've heard. California Jam '74 was, 300,000 people with Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, the Eagles, Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Sure.
And they charged every single one of the 300,000 people that went there, and they got their money. And ABC played it live, or I don't know if it was live, but played it on live on television.
With Deep Purple with David Coverdale.
David Coverdale, that's right. Yeah.
How
Glenn
weird
Hughes.
is that?
A great set, and Richie Blackmore blowing up the stage. Literally.
Yeah, there's a guy
I think he
that-
blew like a 5-foot hole in the stage during that set.
There's a guy that has been sort of lost in the shuffle of great guitar players. Blackmore invented neoclassical shred. He and Steve Howe.
Because he's a recluse,
Right.
He's
But he and Steve Howe were the guys that invented all of that stuff that Yngwie and Tony McAlpine and Randy Rhoads and all those guys they were the first guys to take the classical and put it in with the harder rock stuff and make it work. Now, obviously, Steve Howe was much more progressive than Blackmore, but Blackmore was the guy that he gets lost in that list of great guitar
you
players
forget
that
about
everybody
him.
talks about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Innovative for
reason.
innovators. I mean, absolutely.
Right.
As far as, he would use a tape delay, but it was an actual, like an Akai, I think it was called an Akai, 1/4-inch reel-to-reel tape recorder that he'd have right on stage. And he would use just that minimal tape delay between the playback and the record head. The slapback type of thing.
Slapback delay, yeah. No, he was an innovator. He still can play. I think it's sad that he's dragged out Rainbow again to do his thing, but look, it's his thing. You know, I mean, it sucks though, because when you start, like this version of Rainbow reminds me of when Tony Iommi was the only guy in Black Sabbath. When he was doing, and some of those records were
Dio?
pretty good. No, when Tony Martin.
Oh, the short era.
Yeah, Tony Martin was
Stint.
on a couple of records, and Glenn Hughes was on a record. Ray Gillen was on a record that never got released. He recorded the record and then was replaced. And they put
Wasn't
it
there
out as
one hit with what's it? The one right after Dio.
Oh, Ian Gillan.
Wasn't there one hit with Ian Gillan?
Yeah, Ian Gillan. It was on Born Again in 1984. They had a song called Trashed that was kind of a hit.
Yeah.
It was Trashed and Digital Bitch and Zero the Hero.
And then they came back with Perfect Strangers, which was a great album and great
Yep.
tour. There's a good film from that. I think Nassau Coliseum or something like that. With Blackmore at his best, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think that Deep Purple, that 84, and I saw them on the House of Blue Light tour in 1987. They were absolutely in the groove there. They put out that 84 to 89 period was pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, that was the legendary Deep Purple in the groove. What
do they call it? Mach 2?
Yeah, the Mark II lineup. The thing that struck me the most about it when I saw them in Providence, Rhode Island during a blinding snowstorm at the Civic Center. Spun out on Route 9 on my way back.
Been there
to
a few
Framingham
times,
State
yeah.
College. Spun out on Route 9 on the way back to Framingham State College. Got towed out by a company called Ted's of Fayetteville, and Ted was about 6'8" and an eye patch. And I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. He showed up at like 3:00 in the morning. It was like Large Marge had stepped out of the tow truck. It was scary as hell. But the thing that struck me from the show, the thing was the best part of the show. Yes.
Tell him Ted sent you.
Yeah, it was Ted's of Fayetteville. John Lord and Ian Pace were a ridiculously locked-in rhythm section. John Lord, Roger Glover, and Ian Pace. Glover basically backed out of this thing. You know how everybody gets a solo? Well, Blackmore had already done his solo with like a laser of Beethoven sort of conducting the solo. And then it was time for John Lord and Ian Pace to lock in. And they locked in, and it was phenomenal. You want to talk about another guy that's super underrated, Ian Pace as a drummer. Doesn't get anywhere near the credit he deserves.
And he's a lefty.
Phenomenal
That's
drummer.
right, yeah.
phenomenal drummer, really, really good. Deep Purple.
And his name is Pace for a drummer. I mean, come on.
Right.
Keep the pace.
He Deep Purple, again, like what we talked about with Blackmore, the great underrated band, and I think obviously that's because of their lineup instability. But even every lineup that they had something to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, nobody would know who Tommy Bolin was if he wasn't in Deep Purple. You know, and they did good stuff with Coverdale and Glenn Hughes. They did. I mean, obviously, the Ian Gillan Mark II lineup was the one that is the most legendary. But
Hush is still one of my favorite songs. Hush with that's the best Hammond organ song.
But Hush was pre Ian.
That was their
Gillan.
first lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. With Rod Evans. Rod.
I'm not
Rod
sure.
Evans? I think it's Rod Evans.
Yeah, I know it wasn't.
I could be wrong on that, but I think it's Rod Evans. But that, you know, each one of those bands had its own thing to offer, and I think that's something that sort of gets overlooked. At how good they were, you know, and I think that's what kept them out of the rock and roll, you know, getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nod that they deserved so much earlier than they got in. Phenomenal band. Unfortunately,
which era was inducted?
The Mark II era.
Mark II. Okay.
Yeah. They're not going to.
So it's Pace, it's Glover.
Yeah.
Richie and Lord.
Yeah,
with who's the Gillan and vocals.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, but I think Steve Morse got in as well. And I think that they just, you know, because the band can choose what members get in, and then they argue.
Guy.
Yeah, he's been in the band longer than Blackmore.
Sure, yeah.
He's the current guy.
And I think Coverdale got in as well. Coverdale and Hughes may have got in as well.
Wow.
They may have let everybody in. Except for
Coverdale I do remember him making a speech along with them. Yeah,
I think Coverdale and Hughes got in as well.
This was
Blackmore
like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was way late.
Recent,
way
very
late
recent.
for them to get in. And again, you know, there's always that big three of certain bands, you know, certain genres, and Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and Black Sabbath are absolutely responsible for all of the metal we hear today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those Black Sabbath invented heavy metal, Motorhead made it go fast, and Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin gave it style.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
the
that's
heavy,
really
they're the heavy in the heavy metal. You know,
well, they're certainly
Zeppelin,
the hard rock.
The hard rock, and with Bonham and
and JPJ was.
Who are we talking about?
John Paul Jones was a huge
Jones,
secret weapon in that band. Huge secret weapon. You go back and listen to some of those records, and
listen to the live stuff. I mean, God, the live shows. I mean, it's heavy and it's like dark, and it's. I mean, not dark in a bad way, but it's just like it's hard rock. I mean, it's you know like Black Sabbath, but with a blues. I mean, you can compare. You can say the same for Black Sabbath, but Zeppelin and Black Sabbath had their own polar parts of metal.
If you go back and listen to like stuff off of Zeppelin 3 or like Hey What Can I Do, which sounds like a light little acoustic ditty, and then you just isolate the bass track and listen to what John Paul Jones is doing. He is all over the place.
And wasn't Immigrant Song was on 3. And that was and John Paul Jones, his track, you can hear it on the DVD because they did a full kind of live video of Immigrant Song, and I didn't realize the bass track until I saw that video. But the John Paul Jones is buried in that, but he's playing a great bass track along with that.
So let's
rate.
Let's rate the first 4 Zeppelin albums.
I'm not a fan of the first 2, really. I mean, I certainly respect and I know what the value of them is, but 3 was probably the first one. Not that I was, following them at that time, but 3 would be my first choice out of the first 4.
4, 2, 3, 1. Simple.
3, 4, 2, 1. 3, 4, 2, 1. Something like that. It would be mine.
4, 2, 3, 1 for me. I mean, the first one is phenomenal because it was our introduction. But I think that if they didn't follow it up with Zeppelin 2, which has some amazing shit on it, I mean, their version of Bring It On Home is
Mhm.
phenomenal. The problem with the first two albums is so much of the material
Production.
was copped from other.
Yeah.
Not only that, but so much of it was copped from blues players and not credited.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of sucks. And that puts a.
I'm gonna say 1, 4, 3, 2, because of FM radio, they killed that second album by overplaying it. If I ever have to hear "Livin' Lovin'," she's just a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like nice. I know it. So I love the first album.
Well, do they play those two back to back out in your area?
Like little 22-year-old kids coming up with that stuff blows my mind.
Paul, do they? Did you always play those two songs back to back? "Live and Love It"?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Well, was that
it's
something?
like "We Will Rock You," "We Are the Champions."
From back in the day, did they do that, or was that something like classic rock?
Eruption, you really got me.
Yeah, you have to do it. And you know, the 45.
You're not always getting Eruption in at the before you really got me.
Not
But you're
anymore.
always getting "Live and Love" and.
It was interesting because they took a lot of heat when the 1990 box set came out, and they did Heartbreaker, and at the end of Heartbreaker, it goes into Communication Breakdown instead of Live and Love and Made. And I remember people were pissed because we finally got this Led Zeppelin box set of all their stuff remastered on CD, and the way they sequenced the record.
And that was the era when they were, so I don't think it was back in the day that they would play those back to back. I think it was more
Sure they
classic.
did.
Did they? I don't know. I mean,
Well,
but you're the radio guy, so that's why.
The 45 was one song was on each side.
Okay, so they couldn't play it right back
Not
to back.
if they played it off the single, and that's one of the things that Zeppelin was known for doing is they didn't put out singles. They didn't want to put out things on 45. They wanted you to play the whole album. That was sort of the whole idea behind it. It was one of their marketing things. Was they don't want to. That's why they didn't want to put out any single edits. Any single edits that you hear of Zeppelin tracks were done by radio stations or somebody after the fact.
So the fifth album then is Houses of the Holy?
Yeah.
And then
Physical
Graffiti.
Physical Graffiti.
Presence
And then
into
Presence.
the other.
They really, I mean, the two worst, quote unquote, worst albums in the Zeppelin catalog are three if you count Coda as an album. Presence is generally considered the biggest disappointment. By the way, it's a phenomenal record if you go back.
Great
and listen
album.
to it.
Those last two
Phenomenal
Zeppelin
record.
albums were
I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah,
Two of my
I mean,
probably, yeah.
For Your
Before the
Life
first-
is as good as it gets. And then you go back, and
For Your
Zeppelin
Life.
does prog rock. And then Zeppelin does prog rock with Achilles' Last Stand and Carouselambra and all that stuff.
Carouselambra, yeah, I heard that on the
And then-
radio yesterday.
Zeppelin 3 at the time was considered a disappointment because they went soft. Meanwhile, it's got
Immigrant Song.
Immigrant Song is
Out on the
there.
Tiles. Isn't Out on the Tiles on that one?
I
Yeah,
love
Tiles is in there.
Tangerine.
Tangerine.
I love Gallows Pole. I think Gallows Pole is a phenomenal song. But
Three
at
is
the time,
probably my favorite album from Zeppelin.
those are the two that get sort of lumped at the bottom of most of the Zeppelin catalog. And then if you count Coda, it's Coda, Presence, and Zeppelin 3 are the ones that get
Those
most
Montrose,
often beat
that's
up.
The only thing that Coda's worth.
Fruitcake Tony, I don't know that Houses of the Holy is disappointing. I mean, you're talking about The Song Remains the Same, maybe the greatest opening track on an album
Rain
ever
Song.
released. The greatest opening track ever
That's
released.
another double song. Song Remains the Same into Rain Song. That's
and
one
a
that
Rain
they always
Song.
play together,
Then you've got Over the Hills and Far Away. You've got The Ocean.
The Ocean, yeah.
Dancing Days, No Quarter. How can you possibly dump on
Absolutely.
Houses of the Holy?
Yeah.
So Paul, then the live Song Remains the Same album was released between what
76.
That came out between
Right
Physical
after-
Graffiti and Presence.
Yeah. But
And
they
the
played
problem with that,
Physical
it was a
Graffiti on
73
that.
tour. That the recording for Song Remains the Same was actually recorded in 1973, and they held it back because the band was pissed off that it didn't come out the way they wanted it to. But at some point, they were like, "Look, we spent all this money on it. We might
Still a
we might as well
real
put it
cheesy
out."
movie, but I wish they would
Right.
just release the concert. The movie stuff is terrible, with
They went
they're playing gangsters and playing,
right.
characters.
I
They
saw
went to-
that so many times at the you would go and you'd sneak in a 6-pack of beer to the midnight movies and see The Song Remains the Same, and I probably did that a half a dozen times.
The issue with that was the reason why they put it out was because after Physical Graffiti and before Presence was that time when Robert had lost his kid, Carrick had died, and then
It was a hiatus
the
for the
car
band.
accident. It was the car accident. He got in the big car accident and recorded. He was really screwed
recorded
up.
that
He had to
album
record everything from a
In
wheelchair.
a wheelchair, yeah.
Yeah, which is the joke behind Achilles' Last Stand. Achilles' Last Stand has nothing to do with gods and the battle for the universe. It has everything to do with the fact that Robert Plant couldn't get out of his wheelchair, so it was a pun.
I didn't know that. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense though. Yeah.
and if you go and you listen to some of the songs like Royal Orleans is hilarious because that's about when John Paul Jones met a transvestite hooker in a bar in New Orleans and took her up to his room and got a
discovered the
surprise.
secret.
Yeah, he found out that Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn.
So what is your least favorite Zeppelin song out of that? The one that just kind of drives you crazy?
Dazed and
Hats off to
Confused.
Roy
I can
Harper.
do. I mean, you know,
Oh,
I love Dazed and Confused live, and you know, I'm not going to turn it off, but it's been overplayed to me.
I can do without things like Hats Off to Roy Harper.
I like that one.
It's all right. It's
Yeah.
just like you know, somewhere along the line you have to look at one of the songs and say, well, this doesn't meet the same standard as
Jamaica.
the rest.
Jamaica is one of my. Isn't
I'm
one
doing
of
without Jamaica.
Hot dog.
I love Hot Dog.
Hot Dog.
I love Hot Dog.
I like hot dogs.
Maybe I should
Yeah.
re-listen.
And then and I kind of like some of the songs on Coda. I liked Darlene, as goofy as it is, and Ozone Baby. I thought those were great tracks.
I loved Bonzo's Montreux. That's the only thing I listen to off Coda. The drum solo with Jimmy
Oh,
Page
Bonzo's
doing
Montreux, yeah.
effects. And there's all kinds of effects and stuff on it, and it was all just kind of a built in the studio basically. But as a tribute to Bonzo after that.
Yeah, well, it's fun because if you go back, I think I have some of the studio bootleg stuff from way back when. There's a great one where it just goes drum insert take 2, and it's just them putting the drum insert in for Moby Dick, and then on the second box set, they do Moby Dick, and then it goes into Bonzo's Montreux. They edited Bonzo's
that's right.
Montreux in instead of the Moby Dick drum solo.
That's right. And Page, thanks to Page, who's you know especially the Led Zeppelin DVD that came out in the early 2000s with all that live stuff, and as well as How the West Was Won, just to keep it alive. And Jimmy Page is one of those classic rock artists that's actually going back into their catalog and keeping it alive and releasing all the stuff everybody wants to hear.
I've played Fool in the Rain for a lot of people in my shop down here because I keep trying to sell this damn blue box. So I play that song for people. I've probably played that a dozen times in the last
That's
2
a different one, right? That's a different one.
I have 2 of them.
Nice.
That's the reissue, or that's the newer one right there.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is real.
I can't sell that damn thing.
What is that?
That's the object
Oh,
Presents.
from Led Zeppelin's Presence album.
Oh my gosh.
That's one of there were 1,000 of these made, and I have one of them.
wow.
It's a real one. It's not
That's cool.
one of the re-releases of it or a bootleg of it. This is a legitimate. I don't have the box for it, but I bought this in New Orleans out of a secondhand record store called Magic Bus, which is on the edge of the French Quarter, and it's run by was run. I don't think it's there anymore. It was run by 2 guys named Lippy and Chris. And Lippy and Chris were both Englishmen, and I believe they may have been a couple. And I had a good night at the casinos in Biloxi. So I come back into their store, and I used to, if I had like extra CDs and stuff like that, I would basically trade them in there for credit and get other albums and stuff like that. So they knew who I was. They knew I worked at a radio station. I brought them a whole box of King Biscuit Flower Hour discs because I was asked to clean out a closet at a radio station, and they said, "Hey, give us 2. Make sure we have 2 copies of every show, and anything above that you can have." So I brought them down to Lippy and Chris and traded them in, and they gave me some money for it and stuff like that. So I had a good relationship with them. I walked in, and this was sitting in their case of cool memorabilia. So I said to Lippy, I go, "Is that an object?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Is it real?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How much do you want for it?" And he just looked at me and flippantly goes, "I don't know, $150. And I peeled off $150 right there and said, I'll take it. Fast forward about 2 months, I show up in Magic Bus, and I'm standing in the record rack just going through some stuff, and Lippy looks at me and goes, too bad about that object of yours. I go, what? He goes, too bad about that object. I go, what do you mean? Jimmy Page walked in 4 days later, could have had him sign it for you. I go, well, you wouldn't have given it to me for $150. He goes, well, hell no. But apparently, Jimmy Page had a kid in New Orleans, and in 1998 or 99, that kid was doing some sort of theater, like a theater presentation. So high school theater, Jimmy had flown in to see his child in a high school theater thing and walked into Magic Bus. And he was well known for buying bootlegs. Jimmy Page buys bootlegs of Led Zeppelin because he's a curator of their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
really?
I had a friend at one time. Jimmy was being managed by Q Prime, who manages Metallica and a couple other artists, a bunch of other artists. And my friends at Q Prime said, if you want to send us the object, we'll have Jimmy Page sign it. And I wouldn't send it through the mail. I couldn't risk losing this. And they're also pretty fragile. They're not. I don't know what it's made out of. It's like an epoxy. You can hear it.
Oh yeah.
It's like a metal, almost like a metal, but it chips.
It's porcelain.
It's like a porcelain, yeah. It's sort of an epoxy. You can see where it's been chipped and repaired over the years. Yeah. So it is one of my favorite, my most prized possessions is having a real object. I love this thing. You know, I have and you guys already saw. I have the Van Halen 3 Cannonball up there, and then the Van Halen Monkey from OU812 back there.
Yeah, Darwin's Ape.
Somebody posted one of those after you showed it. Somebody posted one of those on eBay.
I saw it. I thought about buying it, so I had them for bookends.
What they
have bookends.
What were they asking for it?
$250, $275.
I don't remember. Yeah,
something like that.
God.
No, it was a decent price.
Dan Electro,
I love my object.
Silvertone.
That's one of the new reissue ones.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
I have a couple other Zeppelin things. Like I have the 25th anniversary of Stairway to Heaven, sort of a fold-out thing. And I worked a Zeppelin record in 1997 for the BBC sessions, when the BBC sessions came out.
Oh, yeah.
I have a platinum album from Zeppelin, which is cool.
Oh,
I have that on
wow,
CD.
Man.
Yeah.
Bought that when it came out.
Yeah, I was a program director of a station in Memphis during that time. So I got, and the platinum is it's like this big, and it's got etched glass, and it's really classy. One of these times, these Saturday nights,
Cool.
I'll go into the guitar room and we'll do it I'll take my iPad and we'll do it instead of using this webcam, and I'll show you that platinum. It's pretty badass.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Kubrick Lover. That did actually happen. There's a very famous Zeppelin bootleg called The Can, which was like a 10 album set. That's some of the stuff for the DVD box set he had to get. Yeah,
didn't Jimmy Page get robbed? Somebody's went to his vault or whatever his archive and stole a bunch of the soundboard stuff and that's where a lot of those bootlegs came from. And
yeah, I still have stuff. He says that he's released everything that he has. That's not true because I still have stuff they haven't released. You know, I mean, there's rehearsals and some tracks here and there that haven't been released. And I'm sure the next move in the Led Zeppelin catalog will be Jimmy will start doing like what the Allman Brothers and the Grateful Dead and some of these other bands have done, and Pearl Jam is releasing live archives.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be surprised because Jimmy Page can't get out from underneath the specter of Led Zeppelin. I mean, Led Zeppelin is arguably the greatest band in the history of rock. And that umbrella, no matter what he does moving forward, it's always going to be compared to that. The Coverdale Page record was great. You know, the two
Page Plant
records were pretty good.
The Firm,
yeah.
The Firm is super underrated, but Jimmy was really messed up at that point. Yeah. And he did just put out a box set. I think I got it. I'll grab it. It's a box set of like his Death Wish soundtrack and some other stuff. Hang on a second. I'll grab it.
Hey, Neil.
Hey.
What?
Zeppelin, Neil.
What's the latest, Neil?
What's the latest? I'm trying to figure out which guitar Dane's going to grab next. Dimebag. Go with that. Oh.
No, what
Beane?
you got there, buddy?
Oh, look at that.
2.5
Whoa.
octaves.
Is that,
30.
What is
Is
that?
that an Ibanez? It's an Ibanez.
Yeah, it's an Ibanez. I've never seen that one.
I'd buy
Massive cutaway. How many frets on that?
50 bucks.
30.
30.
Yeah.
Nesdal's drooling in his sleep right now.
50 bucks today and today only.
$50. Damn.
It's all neck. That's pretty
Yes,
cool.
Kubrick Lover, they did do that. Zeppelin did do Live Aid, and it was terrible. And they wouldn't release it.
With Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins and Tony Thompson. Fun fact, you may or may not know this. Led Zeppelin reunited after Live Aid.
At
True
the,
story.
Yeah, at the New York.
They
Wasn't
were
it
going- no,
88?
No, not talking about that. Led Zeppelin as a band were going to reunite after Live Aid. This is a little known story, but it's a true story. They were going to reunite with Tony Thompson from the Power Station and Chic. He's a very famous African American
On
drummer.
drums?
He's no longer with us anymore. Yeah, he was going to be their drummer. So, long story short, he gets in a car accident, and his emergency contact he lists as Robert Plant. And Robert Plant gets the phone call after the car accident and thinks that it's bad karma, that it's a message from beyond the grave, because Robert Plant is weird that way.
Yeah.
And says that it was a message from the beyond the grave and it was bad karma, that their drummer, they're trying to reform with a new drummer and he almost dies. So that's why Robert Plant won't reunite.
Bad
Because he's
caramel.
very superstitious. Yeah, bad caramel. Here's the you can't really, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. It's called Soundtracks.
Yeah.
And it's a Jimmy Page box set that he put out.
So.
Yeah, he put this out a couple of years ago. And what it is essentially is, and it's basically, you're not gonna be able to see it because it's, you know,
It's black.
It's,
It's none more black.
It's none more black. Yeah.
It doesn't have a
But this-
TV in it.
This was yeah. This was only available on his website, and there were limited copies of it. I think the first 50 or so were actually autographed by Jimmy Page, and I happened to stumble upon it in a
Wow.
secondhand record store. for
It's,
like
it's in
20
black
bucks.
Sharpie, but see, you can't tell, you know.
Yeah, no, the whole thing. So it's like the Death Wish soundtrack and some of his other, like Blow Up. He did a movie. He did the soundtrack for a
The
movie called Blow
purely
Up, I
Jimmy
think.
Page solo stuff.
It's all Jimmy, but this is the only thing he's done outside of the Outrider album. Which, by the way, I saw that tour when John Miles was the lead vocalist. John Miles was on lead vocals, and Jason Bonham, a very young Jason Bonham, played drums. But that's the only thing he's done outside of Led Zeppelin and the Firm that he's had the balls to release. So he's Jimmy Page's. He's
Well,
forever
thanks to
going
Jimmy
be-
Page for keeping it alive. I mean, you know, the other classic rock artists, not naming any names,
Eddie Van Halen.
have not gone into that archive as much as, you know, Jimmy Page and some of the other, even like the Stones and stuff like that have really, the Who have gone into their archive and released some of those shows that at one time were bootlegs and at one time were just something people traded. But you know, thank you, Jimmy. I mean, especially when the Led Zeppelin DVD came out, I got that the first day, and I watched the shit out of that.
They did it in Japan.
Oh yeah.
They were able to put out the box sets in Japan.
Are those just the albums though? There's nothing live,
Yeah,
nothing.
They're remasters.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
we
able-
all know that Van Halen has an extensive bootleg archive, whatever you want to call it, a soundboard archive, sort of live show archive that we haven't seen yet. But
We have most of it already, though.
well, we do in low quality bootleg, YouTube, that kind of stuff. But to get an official release would be really cool from some of that, you know, the same way Led Zeppelin did with their DVD when, you know, and there was the Royal Albert Hall from 1970. That full show is amazing.
Earl's Court.
Earl's Court
in 75 is phenomenal. Nebworth is still great.
Nebworth and the outtakes from Madison Square Garden. That's all. I mean, good stuff. And the Who did it too. You know, the Who with like the Isle of Wight, and a bunch of the, like, you know, I think they did 10 Texas 1975, which was kind of an in-house video, you know, kind of like the Largo type of stuff, where it was an in-house video shoot.
You know, the Who is an interesting band because they had the misfortune of coming up at the same time when there were so many other great bands. Even though the Who now gets their due, I think they were sort of overshadowed because they had to deal with, you know, Zeppelin, Sabbath.
Well, it's another one that
Stones.
throughout the 70s there was a huge gap. You know, they came up with Tommy.
Right.
There was, and then Who's Next? And then there was a gap in 75. I think they came out with Quadrophenia, which was amazing. And everyone kind of thinks, places that as their number one best album. But from that 75, then there was like the Who by Numbers, which nobody bought, which was still a great album. And then
on that one, right?
Which one?
Squeezebox.
Yep. So, but that gap between like the mid 70s to the late 70s, they did have a year or two that they absolutely just took off. They didn't, I think 77 and 76 for the Who, they didn't tour or have any albums out. And then they came back
Tough
with
to stop.
the you know, Who Are You? And then Keith Moon died, and that was sort of pretty much the end.
Tough to top Who's Next. Who's Next is on the list of perfect albums.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect from start to finish.
What year did Keith die? What year?
78?
78, I think. 78?
Maybe about 79, 78, 79.
And then they replaced him with that guy from The Faces.
Kenny Jones.
Kenny Jones, that's right. Kind of compared to Keith Moon, he was a stiff drummer. He stayed right
Absolutely, very different. Yeah, very different drummer.
Yeah.
Died in 78, September.
Do Keith Moon riffs. He played it out straight.
The fun part about Keith Moon is that weird way that he put the sticks. Like he didn't play like that. He put the sticks. It was like he was playing.
He wasn't a drummer. He wasn't a musician. He wasn't a drummer. He was just a wild man, and he even admits that he didn't consider himself a drummer or a musician. He was just a spaz, more or less, you know.
Yeah, I don't think
he was amazing, but he didn't practice. He said he's been on record saying he didn't practice. He just was Keith Moon. That's as far as you can go with it. You know,
I don't think he had a hi-hat on his drum kit.
No, rarely did he use that. It was all, you know, cymbals and just a slapping beat, just, you know, in time and with accents and you know, what are the you know, playing triplets and stuff like that between notes and everything. Yeah. He was just a natural, and it came natural to him.
And he put a stick of dynamite in his kick drum that one time.
For the Smothers Brothers, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's where Pete Townsend lost most of his hearing, and that supposedly.
I love the night he passed up behind the kit, and Townsend goes up. Does anybody know how to play drums?
That's right.
And the kid came out of the crowd and played with the Who. I mean, you think about the Who, along with the MC5 and the Kinks, really invented punk rock.
That's right.
Yeah, they invented punk rock. I mean, in the UK it was the Kinks and the Who, and in the United States it was the Stooges and the MC5. Those guys really invented punk rock, and then obviously the Ramones and the Sex Pistols and the Jam and the Clash and all those guys took it to another level. But if it weren't for the Kinks and the Who and the MC5, punk rock doesn't happen. Well, maybe it happens, but it doesn't happen as quickly.
I think the Who was the Who was the first band to just cut loose. Now you know how to play the song, but we're going to play the song now. We're just going to cut loose on it, and everybody just go nuts and make it bigger and better than it was. And you know, Van Halen was good at cutting loose. There's a lot of bands that would sit and play their songs, but then there's bands that would play the songs at that moment. They would be in the moment where Zeppelin was great at that. And again, the Who. And my favorite live recording from the Who is from Woodstock. And believe it or not, the song is Magic Bus. There's a little small part right in the middle of that song where they're just making magic. It's just this crazy groove that they get into.
Well, that's what they would do at the end of their sets. They do, Magic Bus into kind of My Generation with
Fret level.
Naked Eye, and they just really bring it down. It's about bringing it down, and then building it back up, and just listen to Pete Townsend describes it. It's like bringing it to one level, and then at the end of the set, you take it down to a few notches, and then you bring it to the furthest level you can, and then that's the end of the show. I mean, no encores. The Who didn't want to do an encore. They just blew up the stage at the end of their sets every time.
Well,
there were bands that could cut loose. There's bands that play the songs like they wrote them. There's great bands like Metallica. Metallica doesn't cut loose like the Who did, and or like the way Led Zeppelin would do it. And nothing against Metallica, they're awesome, but they have a playbook that they stick to.
Yeah.
And a lot of bands are like that.
A formula.
Once in a while, you'll get one of those bands that figure out how to just, hey guys, be in the moment and let's just crush this song right now.
Well, it's those bands that either have a set list or improvise, or not necessarily improvise, but just do it on the fly. Guns N' Roses was always known for never having a set list, but they would play most of the same songs each night, but they would change up the order.
It'd be a little different, and
it'd be a little different, sure.
Yeah. No, Guns N' Roses did that. They would cut loose, like I like to say.
And most bands would do that. I mean, until through the 60s and 70s, a set list wasn't anything that was. You wouldn't always have a set list. It would be, let's just let's play. And you look at nowadays. I mean, now we have every set list from every band. If you want to find it, you can find it. And most bands just would play the same thing.
Aerosmith is one of those bands. Those guys knew how the songs went, but every time you hear what's it done, train kept rolling.
Yes.
Every time they feel it, and it's always a little bit different. So Aerosmith is also one of those great bands that can cut loose.
And so we find ourselves 3 hours and 42 minutes.
I was gonna say,
It's time
I'm good.
Speaking about cutting loose,
this was a late start, so I think we went a little bit late tonight.
Yeah.
And Johnny hasn't said a word in an hour and a half because he can't.
Fret level midnight. It is time for bed. Yeah, I mean it's 4.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually have to get up in 4 hours and drive to the airport.
Oh man.
Actually, yeah.
Sorry to hear that. Get to bed. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Neil and Dane, and as well as Paul. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. And
everybody,
absolutely. Thank you guys in the chat. I'm not going to go through everybody, but
take another hour.
Fruitcake Tony, Amanda Coombs, Simon Williams, Kubrick lover. I'm a Kubrick lover myself. Simon Williams, all you guys. Renus Pinkel. Thanks a lot. And so I think we're good.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you guys.
Dean and Neil. Thanks, guys.
I didn't get to tell you my story about running main spotlight for the Black Crows. That's for a different day.
I'm a spotlight guy myself. I
heard you
posted
say that.
The other night. I posted a show that I found on the internet, Warrant, live at Hampton Beach, that I did spotlight on. You can see that in the Discord. Ding, ding, ding.
I ran spotlight for the Black Crows and Macaulay Schenker band.
Wow.
But Macaulay Schenker had their own guy, and they just needed somebody for the Black Crows. They were up and coming. Hard to Handle just came out, whatever that album.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a free T-shirt for doing it.
I did, I did spotlight for dozens of bands. I love that. Yeah, you get the swag, and this is nothing that I got. This is a Van Halen swag T-shirt. Good night. Wow. Let's end this.
See you guys.
All right. Oh, everybody.
Oh, jeez. Damn. What just happened?
You want to start the real show now?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Hey,
All right.
everybody. This is Johnny Beane. It's 1:06 a.m.
Thank you all. Good night to everyone else that's
9:22.
still around. We got 75 still out there. Well, thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, man. Thank you, everybody. Leave a
Another-
thumbs up.
Another great
Subscribe.
Straturday night.
Yes. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with Guitar Hack. He's going to be
Nice.
jumping in here. I think we agreed on... oh, gosh. I think 11 in the morning. Oh, my goodness.
Well,
I'm getting up in like 4 hours to drive to the airport, and then I'll be back. And then Guitar Hack will be here.
wonderful.
So
I'll tune in for that. Maybe I'll watch the replay.
yeah, I'll watch the replay.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Johnny, and we'll see you next. Tune in tomorrow night with Johnny and Guitar Hack, and
tomorrow
Tuesday
morning.
night.
Tomorrow morning,
and
yeah.
Tuesday night for with John
Tuesday.
Mancuda talking 80s.
Tuesday's gonna be crazy.
Is that Caleb and Dave?
Caleb's gonna be at Nesdall's.
Excellent.
So it's gonna be
That
Caleb
will be
Nesdall,
crazy.
Pete Caruch from
Damn.
Franks and Beans is their band. So it's gonna be insanity.
Wow.
Tuesday.
I will tune in for that one.
Awesome, you guys.
Awesome
Rock
sauce.
on. Awesome sauce, everybody.
Good night to Ned. Good night to Howie.
Oh yeah, look at him.
Man,
There he is.
there's a content cat right there.
He's so cool, man.
Oh man.
He's so cool. Yeah, will be that. Fear my 3-inch. It will be a sausage fest on Tuesday.
Speaking of sausage, I have a sausage that I'm going to cook up and eat with a nice sausage sandwich,
Oh.
sausage, peppers, and onions.
Oh, I
am going to eat that and go. Yeah, nothing. No, I have.
thought you were about
I
to
was. I
stand
had
up.
dinner at my parents, and when we had sausage sandwiches, so I'm going to cook one up and then
Right
go to
now?
bed. Yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
So.
Cool. All right.
All right.
On. Rock on. That's right, Nedward. Yep. Good night, Simon Williams. Awesome. I'll see you tomorrow, Simon Williams. Or probably later today for you, right? Simon.
That's right.
All right. Rock on, you dudes.
Have a great week, everyone.
Cats are cool. All right. Thumbs up. And I'm just gonna hang up, John, because I gotta.
Yeah. All right, Johnny.
I
I'll see you next
week.
week. Have a great week.
Minutes.
And I will see everyone later. Bye-bye.
See you, man.
I tried to click it off, but it didn't go off. All right. Good night.
There we go. All right. Everybody's gone now. We can actually do the real show now, you guys. Everybody's going to sleep. Wow. Look at Ned. Look at that guy. All right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. I got to try to get some sleep. See you guys tomorrow. 2 o'clock. What do you call it? 2 o'clock Eastern. Oh, Ned woke up. Gee, all good, man. I got your messages, man. It's all good, dude. Alex Radford, see you later, man. Fear my 3-inch, see ya. Brett McCord, Simon Williams, Freaky Tony, and everybody. Mickey. Oh, look, he's taking a bath. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, 11 a.m. with Guitar Hack. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, that cat's awesome, man. All right. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Oh, crap. Doesn't let me do it. Hang on. Wait, what's that? Oh, okay. All right. Good night. Johnny Beane TV. Good night.